What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 11 FC, Chapter 261 Travel to the Pirate World and find Sha Shing. Advertisement. Development World Shuttle, you can travel to other worlds. Close black lens bracket. You can go to other worlds, because different dimensions have different world wills, power system rules, and strength will be restricted accordingly. Close black lens bracket. Shuttle conditions. You can be on the potential list and the strength list at the same time, and you can only shuttle once a month, and there is no restriction on returning to your own world. Close black lens bracket. Hanging in the sky, the sound and subtitles of the golden leaderboard appeared. Once this change comes out, immediately everyone was taken aback, but the qualified people on the gold list were pleasantly surprised. Shuttle world, isn't it possible to go to other worlds? According to the gold list, the strength will be suppressed to the level of that dimensional power. Judging from that statement, it should be much better than in the special battle space. All of a sudden, the minds of people in multiple worlds became active. At first, some people looked at the world of Dragon Ball, or the world of Superman, but they all looked at the world of pirates at the same time. If it is possible to travel through the past, wouldn't it be possible to appreciate the demeanor of Sha Shing, the number one in the double list, in person? Beerus, Weiss, the gods of destruction and the priests were very excited. Not to mention the others, they all want to see what kind of aura Sha Shing has in the real world, and how powerful he will be. It's just a seemingly simple condition, to be on the double list. In fact, there are not many that can be achieved. It's so interesting, I'm going to play with Sha Shing. At this time, Quan Wong stood up from the throne with a bang. Some couldn't wait to get up. Immediately, the god-tier officers and gods of destruction were all taken aback. Quan Wong is not on the potential list, it seems that he can't meet the conditions of the gold list, right? Quan Wong, it seems that you haven't been on the potential list yet, so you can't shuttle. The god-tier officer also laughed at the side, and said with a bow. Quote. King Quan looked at the golden list in the sky, and stretched out his little hand, emitting white light. The next moment, a scene that stunned everyone appeared. The potential list has changed, except for Sha Shing, all dropped one place again. Second place on the potential ranking list, all kings. Close black lens bracket. This action has been noticed by many people. After all, the light in Quan Wang's hand is too dazzling. What's the background of this little guy? Didn't he come out a long time ago and didn't make it to the potential list? Advertisement. Those who noticed were all in disbelief, and looked at each other in confusion. Sha Shing was also a little surprised, but it wasn't very surprising that a real god like Quan Wong who controlled the 12 universes could do it. I wanted to rank the gold list before, but I discussed with it not to be on the list. Quan Wong jumped up and down, and challenged a god of destruction ranked below the top 10, Wei Demei. Wei Demei also decisively conceded defeat, and Quan Wong was qualified to be on the double list. This time, the people on the potential list are almost all on the most powerful list, and there are nearly 30 people who are qualified to shuttle. Hey, does it mean that we can go to Sha Xing's world and meet for real? Hugh also had an excited look on his face, and he couldn't wait to think of this. As a result, Genos hadn't spoken yet, and Saitama suddenly disappeared in a flash of white light. Ms. Saitama, Genos was stunned. This has passed through. The other side, Quan Wong, God-tier officer, Beerus, Sun Wukong, Brawley, Frieza and other people on the double list also issued crossing instructions to the gold list. The Ant King Meruem, Nitro, Aizen Sosuke, Yuhabak, Kurosaki Ichigo and others didn't think much about it, and then disappeared into the original world with a flash of white light. All qualified people chose Pirate World by coincidence. Except for Kyu who wanted to compete with Sha Shing in reality, most of them wanted to pay a visit to Sha Shing. One Piece World, New World Sea Area. White Lion Island. World Shuttle, can we go to other worlds? Whitebeard and Newgate stood up in surprise, with some expectation in his heart. Those worlds of the other party are very strange to him. It might be a good choice to go and have a look. It's just that on my side, apart from Uchiha Madara and those so-called gods, only Sha Shing is qualified. Actually, it's nothing, I'm too lazy to go. Sha Shing watched Quan Wong get on the list, but his face was expressionless, and he was still drinking with a wine glass in his hand. If you think about it carefully, it's actually quite troublesome. The world of Superman is the Earth in another dimension. The Saint has ruined it, and it is not good to look at. Not to mention the world of Dragon Ball, it takes a long time to go from one planet to another, not to mention the ability to go to space is not easy to use. Sha Shing immediately lost interest in going over to have a look. Advertisement. If Saitama or Sun Wukong and others want to come over, they can bring game consoles, movies, comics. With a flash of inspiration, Sha Shing slapped his thigh and almost forgot about it. But when he looked up again, there was no sign of them, even the whole king had disappeared. Quote. Monkey King, Saitama, they seemed to disappear in a flash of white light. Hancock, who was seated beside him, said suddenly. Through time, can't wait. Sha Shing was taken aback for a moment, then sighed. Once a month, let's see if they are willing next time. However, the major worlds are in a competitive relationship, and they are not necessarily willing. It is also at this time. In the very center of One Piece world, high above the holy land of Mariajoy. God-tier officer, Who is this? Those with a high dimensional class are suppressed by an irresistible balance. It doesn't matter who I am, go find Sha Shing first, and then have fun. The Quan Wong looked down at the surroundings from a high altitude curiously. However, the real horror breath exudes from his body. Immediately afterwards, Saitama, Higuro, Yuhabak, Aizen Sosuke, Kurosaki Ichigo, and Netero's Good Zhao all appeared there. Everyone clearly felt the special feeling attached to them by the will of the world. A continent of red land with a huge area is particularly beautiful, with castles such as Quan Wong, God-tier officer and others. A group of figures suddenly appeared. Even Saitama could feel the terrifying power in Quan Wong. Except for Saitama, the others watched the scenery like Quan Wong, and all paid attention to Quan Wong, who made them tremble a little. Yes, the environment here is so beautiful, it's all the sea. All of a sudden, everyone looked at Quan Wong in trembling. Afterwards, God of Destruction Beerus, Champa, and God-tier officer appeared around Quan Wong one after another. A white light lit up, as if a white platform had been built. The King Quan, who is short in stature and has slender arms, is not a normal human being, first appeared there. Chapter 262, The Quan King Challenges Sha Shing. Advertisement. The group of people didn't say much, feeling the oppression of their respective bodies to varying degrees. They flew away with Quan Wong, God-tier officer and others. As for leaving alone, we'll wait until we meet Sha Shing. After all, it would be bad if we shuttled over without saying hello and caused some misunderstanding. In fact, there are only a few people here who want to compete with Sha Shing in reality. People such as Yuhabak, Aizen Sosuke, and Netero all came here with the mentality of admiring the strongest. You must know that this is the real world. If you are killed, you will really die. A group of people flew away quickly. Saitama, Hungry Wolf, and Ant King, who can't fly in the air, were all taken to fly by the kind God-tier officer. Everyone chatted with each other along the way. It's okay to be the King Quan who has no feelings, but Kyu has been questioned many times by everyone how he became stronger. Saitama also answered truthfully. White Lion Island. Sha Shing originally wondered that these guys were all visiting each other, wondering who would come into the pirate world. It happened that the scene also calmed down, and the red-haired Shanks looked at the crowd and called for a banquet to have a drink. This is the island that just put the drinks in the air to watch the battle. Sha Shing suddenly turned his head and looked into the distance. There are guests here, not a lot. Let's prepare another 20 chairs. Sha Shing raised the corners of his mouth and said to the white bear behind him. Guests, 733 Whitebeard Newgate, Shaki, Shanks Rayleigh and others were all taken aback for a moment. Only then did he react. People from other worlds are coming. Everyone was stunned, and it didn't take long for a group of people to appear in the field of vision. And they are all familiar in the past 2 years, guys on the potential list. The king is here too. Sha Shing slapped his forehead, feeling a little distressed. Although he said that he was quite envious of Quan Wong, but this guy who would destroy a universe at every turn was really not at ease when he came to his world. It's fine for me, but it's troublesome to stop it. Quan Wong, God-tier officer, God of Destruction, and Saitama saw the floating platform on Beishi Island from a distance. Advertisement. It was found that Sha Shing had already prepared tables and chairs, and put out food, as if to welcome them. It wasn't until they got close that everyone saw Sha Shing slumped lazily on a chair. Suddenly, everyone's eyes froze. It was the solemnity that flashed in Quan Wang's heart, and then he returned to normal. Saitama clenched his fist even more, feeling a little fanatical in his heart. The young Sha Shing looks like an ordinary person at first glance. But people like Saitama, CIDG, are leaders and strong in their respective worlds. Looking at Sha Shing is completely different. Strong. The breath is stronger than in the special space of the challenge, and it can even be called an unfathomable sense of terror. In this real world, more invincible. It turns out that in the special space, most of his strength is still suppressed. Aizen Sosuke swallowed, and couldn't help muttering something inaudible. This feeling is also the feeling of all of them. Yo, Sha Shing, you can't think of it. Kyu didn't have so much Shao Juju in his heart, so he shook his hand to say hello. This is the first real meeting, Sha Shing. The God-tier officer held a long magic wand, stopped beside Quan Wong, and said with a smile. I came to play with you. Quan Wong flew lightly, very happy to come to a new world. Beerus and Champa behind them stared at the delicious food on the table, feeling a little greedy. The others didn't speak, except that they looked at Sha Shing with some horror, but they didn't show any hostility. Shaki, Newgate, and Garp, who were just preparing for the banquet, knew that someone had passed through. I didn't expect a group of people to come, and the imperceptible momentum was very terrifying, and I couldn't help being secretly surprised. It seemed that they were all targeting Sha Shing. Fortunately, these guys didn't seem to have any malicious intentions, and they greeted them friendly. As long as you don't come to cause trouble, welcome. Please sit down. Looking at them, Sha Shing knew that they were not here to be picky eaters, and then smiled and pointed to the prepared chairs. Everyone took their seats, and on the world projection, everyone in the Dragon Ball world and the Superman world saw this scene on Beishi Island. For a moment, all eyes were on him. The current pirate world has gathered all the top players. Advertisement. The only ones not present were the gods of the Valkyrie world. But they also saw it, and set off to approach the White Lion Island, but Zeus, Odin and others did not dare to enter without Xia Xing's permission. Sha Shing is a casual and lazy person, and the pirates and marines who were influenced by him did not feel embarrassed. Apart from keeping their guards in their hearts, they greeted him enthusiastically. With Sha Shing present, there is no need to be nervous, not to mention these people are also guests from afar. Sha Shing, how about we exchange ideas? Under the service of the god-tier officer, Quan Wong tried the delicacies of pirate world, and suddenly said on a whim. Sha Shing was taken aback. Quan Wong wanted to compete with him. Before replying, Saitama also stood up. I also want to fight with you again. Of course, it's just the kind of fight that doesn't distinguish between life and death. Saitama just lost emotions like fear, but she wasn't stupid. Really will die in a fight. With King Quan and Kyu taking the lead, for a while, Hungry Wolf, and King Meruem and most of the people expressed their desire to compete with Sha Shing in the real world and feel the true strength of the first place in the double list. What the hell are the dozen or so of you suddenly wanting to challenge? Sha Shing covered his face, feeling troubled in his heart. I knew that these guys came here not simply for sightseeing, but more because they wanted to see their true strength. Or plan with me. Kyu smiled, and raised his hand in a funny way to stand up. It has to be said that he likes the feeling of fighting freely, especially fighting with a strong man who can suppress himself. It's too troublesome to fight like this, I can hit one at most. Sha Shing didn't have the time to discuss each other one by one, so he said directly. Everyone was taken aback for a moment, and they also felt that it made sense. After all, Sha Shing was also number 1 in the double list, and his strength was terrifying. It's too unranked to deal with them one by one. Then let's choose the strongest person among us to fight Sha Shing. The god-tier officer said with a smile. This said, many people are still embarrassed. Saitama and god-tier officials are both very strong, even under the suppression of the will of the world, most of them are not opponents. But after thinking about it, if you don't win, you can fight against these strong players, and you won't lose. Everyone nodded, and consciously selected their opponents and formed groups. Sha Shing looked amused and smiled. It seems that the god-tier officer didn't intend to make a move because of the presence of Quan Wong, and in the end he fought with Saitama and Quan Wong. Others really don't feel like there's much hope. Chapter 263 Saitama was defeated by the Quan Wong. Advertisement. Say it and start it. Whitebeard, Newgate, Golden Lion Shiki, Garp, Sengoku and other people from the pirate world were stunned. What is the situation? While eating and drinking, they suddenly started to discuss, and consciously divided into groups, and flew to a higher altitude to start a friendly exchange. Immediately, everyone in the pirate world, including the people in the Hokage world and the people in the Valkyrie world saw a big battle. In real battles, the powerful aura of magnetism permeates the entire waters of Beishi Island. The sea kings on the bottom of the sea fled in terror, and the sea surface was choppy. Phenomena frequently appeared in the sky, the clouds cracked and twisted, and thunder rolled. Among them, King Quan and Saitama are the most terrifying. Fortunately, it was a duel, otherwise, according to the strength of these two, I am afraid that they would kill Aizen Sosuke these masters in an instant. Yuhabok's omniscient and omnipotent power is also good, but he can't predict the true power of Zen Wang and Saitama, otherwise there is still hope. Sha Shing also enjoyed watching it, and commented on it from time to time. Saitama eliminated the opponent with one punch, even if he controlled his strength, he could not help but break the opponent's hands and feet. After several battles, he did not encounter the god of destruction, so he won easily. As long as Quan Wong meets someone from his own world, the other party will naturally admit defeat. Basically, the opponent will be seriously injured and lost when the battle is lit up. The god-tier officer was on the sidelines as a referee and healer, and kept the world from being affected by the aftermath of the battle. As a result, the battle above the high-altitude clouds soon left only Quan Wong and Saitama. Saitama versus Quan Wong, this battle is interesting. Sha Shing also looked at it curiously. Under the suppression of the will of the world, will Saitama have a chance to make the Quan Wong suffer? It's hard to say. Quan Wong, I drew it. Chi Yu didn't know what Quan Wong was from, but he also knew that this guy was not simple at all, and gave him the same sense of oppression as Sha Shing. Immediately, he took the lead, stepped on the air, and sprinted towards Quan Wong with a bang. As if Quan Wong didn't react, a punch hit Quan Wang's body. Then the whole king flew upside down and rushed towards the sea. In this scene, the god-tier officer looked calm, but it scared Beerus, Champa, and the priests, gods of destruction, and kings of the world of Dragon Ball into a big bet. The great Quan King was knocked into the air. It was being hit on purpose. Sha Shing touched and supported his cheeks, a little surprised that Quan Wong was testing Kyu's punching strength like a master. Quan Wong flew upside down to the surface of the sea and stood up there. Advertisement. Saitama, who was stepping on the air, followed closely, with a surprised look on his face. I fell on this little guy with ordinary punches, but nothing happened. It is obvious that Quan Wang's body is strong to the limit. Immediately afterwards, seriously punched Quan Wong again. The powerful punching wind from the punch force even punched out the dark cracks in the space, and landed straight on Quan Wang's body. There was a bang. The sea water sank, was scattered by a punch, and went straight to the bottom of the sea. There was a huge wave on the sea. It's just that all the aftermath of the power was blocked by the god-tier officer, and it didn't affect a larger area. At this time, he resisted a punch again, and Quan Wong didn't retreat anymore, and didn't even shift his position, he just carried it down abruptly. You are very good. If you are stronger, you can beat me back now. There was a smile on Quan Wang's face, his short arms stretched out, and he leaned towards Saitama in the dazzling white light. You are strong too. Hyu's eyes lit up, and he didn't expect that there was another person like Sha Shing who could take his serious punch without getting hurt. Only at this time, facing Quan Wang's protruding palm, the body naturally sensed the danger and reacted. Backed away quickly, but it was still affected. The moment the bright dragon shrouded, Saitama was beaten in pain, and was sent flying into the sky like a cannonball. Where the Quan Wang's palm rested, the space collapsed and turned into darkness. What a headache. Sha Shing sighed, looking at the destroyed world wall. Quan Wang's attack is too destructive. It is worthy of being a ruthless horn who destroys the universe with one thought. Fortunately, the gold list will emit colorful light to repair the loss of the world. After all, these people are all sent by it. Suddenly, there was a loud bang in the air. The surrounding clouds were washed away, Sayu fell like a meteor. During the rapid fall, the left hand protects the right fist, gathering strength. Must kill series. Hyu gritted his teeth, wanting to see if his one-kill punch would hurt Zhen Wang. Ask for flowers. Advertisement. It's just that such a punch has already exceeded the scope of the sparring. Almost enough. This is a duel. Saitama, you lost. Sha Shing still couldn't help but speak out. Nima, you two are playing well, what about my pirate world? The god-tier officer has already used his protective shield with all his strength to prevent the terrifying aftermath caused by the two from erupting. As soon as Sha Shing spoke, Saitama also reacted. The strength was recovered during the fall. Sorry, almost ruined the world. Touching his bald head, Saitama was also a little embarrassed. Even though he was not enjoying himself, he had to admit that from the two punches in Quan Wang's attack just now, he had indeed lost. 0. After bearing the radiance of Quan Wang, the skin on his shoulders was broken and bleeding. And the King of Kings has nothing to do with two punches. You play as long as you want. Quan Wang hasn't done anything for so many years, and he is also the only existence that has the hope of confronting Sha Shing. Jin Bang also seemed to know that Sha Shing was competing with Quan Wang. This is a battle that has not been seen in a million years. Even the god-tier officials became nervous. In fact, the two can still fight, and continue to fly upwards. The closer they get to the gold list, the more they can use their full strength. Both Beerus and Champa swallowed their throats, their ears straightened. The strongest of the two dimensions, one is the host, and the other is the ruler of the universe who is qualified to talk to Jinbang. Sha Shing also floated up at this time, and this time he took Quan Wang to fly up to the infinite high sky where the gold list was hung. Quan Wang, a terrifying guy who has never made a move, and even Saitama is obviously not an opponent when he makes a move. High in the sky, the hazy colorful light of the Jinbang permeated the air. Sha Shing is again number 1 on the double list, a peerless powerhouse who is certain. The match between Quan Wang versus Sha Shing is about to begin. An area is protected by the gold list, as if to say. Suddenly I felt a little trembling, so nervous. The great Quan Wang finally met Sha Shing, and it's not in a special space. But it is enough to discuss each other. This battle can be said to be a rare strong confrontation. Immediately, the three worlds watching the battle became even more fanatical. Chapter 264. Strongest versus Strongest. Advertisement. You have to seriously play with me. Quan Wang spoke, and said in a childish voice. Of course, you came all the way here just to have fun with me. Sha Shing was also looking forward to it. Although I have always been lazy and don't even like fighting, I ordered Conqueror's Haki if I was too lazy to do it. But what we are facing now is the world of Dragon Ball, the 12 real gods of the universe, the terrifying existence that can destroy the universe with a single thought. Under the suppression of the will of the world, can I beat him in reality? That's how it starts. The god-tier official, who was playing the role of referee, saw that Quan Wang and Sha Shing were already standing in the air. Moreover, the gold list would take the initiative to maintain it, announcing the start while being surprised. This time Sha Shing took the initiative. The invisible Conqueror's Haki fist condensed instantly. Unseen, 480 broke through the atmosphere in one fell swoop, and shot towards Quan Wang. Quan Wang blinked his eyes, stretched out his small arms, and bumped into Haki's fist. With a bang, colorful energy fluctuations exploded. It has to be said that Bangart's space is very stable. The people below and the people watching the battle before the projection saw that they had already started, and they all watched more intently, for fear of missing the wonderful battle. Sha Shing folded his arms and sighed inwardly. As expected of the king of Quan, even a fist of this level of Haki can't shake him. The next moment, densely packed pale golden fists appeared behind Sha Shing, and rushed towards King Quan with a whistling roar. There are even flames appearing across the atmosphere. When Quan Wang saw this kind of battle, the terrifying aura spread, and he no longer used his body to shake it. His right hand waved brightly in front of him. Powerful energy fluctuations emanate, with strange abilities. The pale golden fist seemed to hit the light, and the rumbling sound continued. Quan Wang's body was continuously retreated by the impact. The eyes of Saitama, Beerus and others watching the battle changed drastically. In the fist that seems to be not very powerful, if there is no blessing from the gold list to stabilize the space, I am afraid that it will have penetrated the world and shattered the void. And Quan Wang just retreated under this terrifying offensive. Your strength is really different. Advertisement. The power of deterrence is material, this is the spiritual realm. Quan Wong has lived for countless millions of years, and he has seen the essence, and started to fight back while speaking. The unique annihilating power shone brightly on both hands. While annihilating Xia Xing's Haki fist, his body also flew towards Sha Shing. The light from these Conqueror's Haki fists completely dissipated when they touched the Quan Wong. This level of Conqueror's Haki is really not enough. Xia Xing's eyes were fixed, and the deeper golden Conqueror's Haki enveloped him like a light curtain. The extinguished light in Quan Wang's hands was finally blocked. Blocked. Quan Wang was taken aback for a moment. The eruption of this dying light in the universe could even destroy the universe. This will be blocked by the same amount of golden light curtain. As a result, as soon as the words fell, a golden Conqueror's Haki fist hit Quan Wang from the side. Boom. Colorful halos explode. Quan Wang's entire body was shot thousands of meters away before he stabilized his figure. All of a sudden, the God-tier officer and the gods of destruction all fell silent, with cold sweat on their faces. The great almighty was knocked into the air in this state. Xia Xing's golden fist is so powerful, but why am I trembling a little now? My lord will not destroy that world. The gods of destruction were all terrified. Quan Wang is obviously a little angry. But others don't know, Quan Wang is actually angry with himself. I was actually hit by Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki. It was nothing to hit, but I didn't react to it, and didn't even notice it. This is why Quan Wang is angry with himself. Immediately, a dazzling white light lit up. The whole king turned into a white on, and flew back to Sha Shing in an instant. The tiny hands were clenched into fists, and they punched Xia Xing's golden Haki shield. Xia Xing's golden mask kept shrinking, and Quan Wang was also constantly impacting. In the end, the slightest crack appeared on the shield. Advertisement. Sha Shing frowned. The King Quan had exerted all his strength suppressed by the will of the world. Why are you still angry like a child? When it reaches ultimate, the terrifying aura that makes all living beings tremble spreads out, even through the projection, everyone can feel it clearly. It doesn't seem to have any supernatural power. Why is there such a terrifying feeling? Stop talking. Help me quickly. I can't stand upright. Me too. My whole body is shaking. What's going on? All the people watching the battle in Pirate World, Dragon Ball World, and Superman World, those whose strength is not at the top, trembled all over their bodies, as if there were thousands of mountains pressing down on them. Many people were paralyzed, with frightened expressions. It's hard to imagine, this is just the aura caused by Xia Xing sparring with Quan Wang. At this time, Sha Shing had a thought, and before the golden Conqueror's Haki shield shattered, a bigger Conqueror's Haki fist appeared above his head. Towards the impact of all Wang Meng. And during the flight, the color keeps getting darker. This is Sha Shing stepping up his strength. Finally, Quan Wang, who had reached the limit of suppression, couldn't stand it anymore. There was a bang. The people below looked like a huge fist had hit a white dazzling planet. The terrifying energy shock caused even flooded into the void, and even the void was broken. 5.9 Xia Xing's strength has become so strong. Braving the golden flames, he quickly reached out to catch the Quan Wang who was knocked into the air, and took over his own strength. With a movement of his feet, the space ability was activated, and he jumped directly to the bottom. At a speed that was completely invisible to the spectators, Quan Wang shot down obliquely and flew out. Boom. After Sha Shing was shot into the air, he realized that if the Quan Wang fell straight into the sea and hit the bottom of the sea, the terrifying power would destroy half of the Grand Line in an instant. There was disbelief in his eyes. The hazy colorful light blessed by the gold list was shaken away, and huge space cracks appeared. Quan Wang was full of radiance. He gave up continuing to attack the defensive shield, and turned towards his fist. Sha Shing doesn't intend to give up this opportunity. Who knows what the Quan Wang, a guy who has lived for countless years, can do, and immediately increased his strength on Haki's fist. Two powerful energies collide. The King of Quan, exerting all his strength, put his hands on Haki's fist with white light. This has completely transcended the scope of this world. Chapter 265 New World, Marvel World Fusion. Advertisement. I lost. Just like a child's temper, Quan Wang knew that he had lost, but instead of being angry, he flew up with a smile. Sha Shing also shook his head helplessly, and then called Quan Wang back to the viewing platform. But the other spectators looked dull, as if they were walking in place. It seems that I was really watching the sky from a well before. Hiyu touched his bald head, his eyes were a little shocked. He was the closest to the god-tier officer, and also the most clearly aware of how terrifying the sparring between Sha Shing and Quan Wang was. If it weren't for the blessed space, most of this ocean world would have been wiped out. The powerful impact of power in perception, even the must-kill series can't match it. The god-tier officer also looked at Sha Shing and Quan Wang with shock in his eyes at this time. After a while, he took a deep breath, recovered his calm attitude, and flew back to Quan Wang's side. There was a shock. Quan Wang had already said that he would not be Xia Xing's opponent in the special space. Facing Sha Shing who has not been suppressed now, it is normal to lose. Just like in the world of Dragon Ball, the god-tier officer firmly believes that the king is invincible. On the contrary, the children of the god-tier officer, Weiss, Vados, etc., as well as the god of destruction Beerus, Champa, and Wei Demei, all of them stood in place with inconceivable shocks on their faces. The great Quan Wang actually lost. Cognition was broken, faith was overthrown, so that they could not return to God for a long time. Aizen Sosuke, Yuhabak, and Ant King Meruem, who came with Quan Wang, and others saw the battle of the real strong. Just now, we wanted to compete with Sha Shing in reality. No wonder, he only fights with one person. What's the difference between us going up and fighting in the battle space? It's for instant kills. Quan Wang, it is said that his identity is not ordinary, he is the strongest and noblest in that world, a real god, only such an existence can compete with Sha Shing. Everyone sighed. They used to be top powerhouses in their respective worlds, but now they deeply feel how weak they are. As for Pirate World, Superman World, and Dragon Ball World, everyone else was shocked by the horror revealed. Until the end of the battle, the people who were limp on the ground did not get up, and fell into panic and couldn't extricate themselves. In the deepest experience of the Pirate World, Whitebeard, Newgate, Garp, and Sengoku were all in a cold sweat. Just now, it really felt like the end of the world. Shiki's hands were still trembling, holding the wine glass to his mouth. Advertisement. At the banquet, almost everyone was terrified. They all rejoiced that the gold list took the initiative to protect the world layer just now, and there are god-tier officials below to isolate the aftermath. It's so strong, it's unbelievable, the white lion is so powerful that it can easily destroy the whole world. Fortunately, this is just a discussion. Rayleigh and Garp looked at each other, and they both saw the shock in each other's eyes. Soon, Sha Shing returned to the banquet with King Quan and the god-tier officer. Saitama and the others followed closely behind. Everyone sat and chatted again. Your Excellency Sha Shing, did you see my potential when I challenged in the combat space? Seeing Xia Xing's true strength, Hungry Wolf, who refused to admit defeat, completely restrained himself at this time, and his voice became much more regular. Well, your potential is not bad. Sha Shing glanced at the Hungry Wolf and said calmly. Then, how did you cultivate? Finally, Hungry Wolf couldn't hold back anymore, and stepped out of the doubts in his heart. Through the conversation at the banquet, Hungry Wolf knows that Sha Shing is still very young, about the same age as Kyu. As soon as these words came out, many people were shocked, and they all praised Hungry Wolf's courage. It is true that almost everyone is curious about this point, and their ears are pricked up. Kyu is also often asked about the secret of becoming stronger, and can't help but wonder if Sha Shing will answer. Ha ha ha, I said, isn't it true that everyone here hasn't sent someone to keep an eye on it, so they don't know enough? If you ask Kyu to tell, he doesn't know. Sha Shing laughed. I ate, drank and lay down making salted fish every day. It is true that I have not practiced, I just sign in every day. When it came to Kyu started talking instead. As long as you exercise regularly every day, push-ups, sit-ups. Saitama said solemnly, while the others all had black lines on their faces. Sure enough, it is the first and second, even becoming stronger is so similar. But everyone can't help but think, is it really necessary to adjust their mentality to become stronger? Advertisement. Either law or inaction. There was nothing to gain from chatting anymore, and everyone stopped mentioning it and started chatting about other things. For example, the power used by Sha Shing, Haki. The ability of devil fruit and so on surprised everyone. At this moment, while the banquet was in progress, the gold list shone brightly. The ethereal voice once again spread to all people in all worlds. The new world is integrated. Close black lens bracket. 3 worlds, according to the previous rules, there will definitely be a world to join, and then the world fusion competition will start. Everyone was not as surprised as before, but looked up curiously at the world projection that began to appear in the sky. Only the Superman world has never seen it before, and there was an uproar. However, when the picture unfolded, the others were fine, but Yuan Xing was startled. In the world projected by 783, a big melee between 2 people is going on. There are huge monsters flying in the air, and the ground is full of strange humanoid creatures. On the battlefield, there were characters Sha Shing was familiar with. Tall and mighty, with a purple potato face. Thanos. It is the Avengers Alliance, Iron Man, Captain Star, Thor, who are fighting with them. Isn't it? The world of Marvel Universe is here. Sha Shing was a little speechless. In the Marvel world, Thanos' fighting power is not enough to match them now. After all, they have reached the point of destroying the world at every turn. It is difficult for them to destroy a planet, right? But it's not that I don't have the combat power to go on stage. Maybe it's fun now. Sha Shing thought about it again, it wasn't that the Marvel world didn't have enough combat power. There are still strong people hidden in other places, such as those gods who created the world. And the people of the 3 worlds are watching the newly emerged world. In the Marvel world, both sides are fighting fiercely, but they are not aware of the world projection slowly appearing in the sky. It wasn't until the golden list was hung in the sky, and the information of world integration was transmitted to the minds of everyone in the Marvel world, that everyone raised their heads in surprise. What's this? Chapter 266 Challenge of the 5 Creation Gods of Marvel. Advertisement. World Fusion. The other 3 worlds. Holding the broken weapon, Thanos stopped in surprise. The information suddenly imported into his mind really shocked him. Could it be that this gold list is more terrifying than the multiverse and the 5 creation gods? Thanos watched, waved his hand and gave an order to suspend the attack, and waited and watched. On the side of the Avengers, who were originally sticking to the Infinity Stone, when they received the news of the gold list, even though they were surprised, they did not dare to stop. It wasn't until Thanos' army stopped attacking that they breathed a sigh of relief. Potential list and strongest list. Thor, holding the storm axe and Thor's hammer, stood there in a daze. I haven't heard of such things in Asgard for thousands of years, and I thought it was Thanos' method at first. It does not appear to be the case. On the leaderboard, you can get rewards, and you can travel between the worlds if you are on the double list. What does this world mean? Those people on the projection are people from other worlds. Iron Man Tony is even beyond the scope of his understanding of this kind of thing. Fortunately, the gold list has information and explanations, but some of them still don't understand. This is, beyond the infinite universe, a different dimension. Different power system, different energy. Doctor Strange also came over and explained. Just when everyone was truce in discussing the vision that appeared in the sky. Outside the battlefield, at the edge of the Earth's atmosphere, magical fluctuations appeared. The 5 creation gods of the Marvel world, Death, Planet Devourer, and Eternity, appeared there. Galactus, wearing an armor made of unknown cosmic metal, naturally stood outside the Earth. Behind them are the other 4 gods who appeared abstractly. Annihilation, Death, Eternity, Infinity. They were also attracted by the projection projected from the universe in the gold list that was suddenly torn apart. From the perspective of the Earth, the projection seems to be hanging in the sky, but from the universe, the projection of the 3 major worlds and the golden list seem to come from the void, and they seem to be close in front of us. Advertisement. It surprised the 5 god-tier civilizations. And in the depths of the Marvel universe, mysterious eyes are watching from all major latitudes. The energy carried by the gold list is really shocking. No matter other superheroes, Thanos without the Infinity Gauntlet can't feel the terrifying aura of Sha Shing and others on the projection. On the contrary, Thanos noticed the death that appeared in the high-altitude atmosphere, and watched with admiration while being pleasantly surprised. But the 5 creation gods, Thor's bloodline of the gods, and Xingju's bloodline of the gods all sensed the powerful aura on the projection. Quan Wang, god of destruction, Qi Yu, including Sha Shing all brought them a great sense of oppression. Challenge the strong, get rewards to become stronger, and welcome the integration of the world. The strongest gold list. Backquote. Thanos took a deep breath, and after death appeared, his heart for snapping his fingers faded. This magical gold list is a little more attractive to him. At this time, the potential list also began to change. It seems to have finished accepting the information from the Marvel world. There has been a change on the potential gold list. The name of Hungry Wolf's ranking has changed to Phoenix Girl. Then began to announce the rewards. This made Phoenix Goddess who was not on the battlefield look stunned. She could feel that after she was on the list, the rewards began to be passed on. Potential, strength, and understanding increased tenfold. The power of the Phoenix can be directly increased by 10 times. Immediately, the 5 creation gods were all surprised. The power of the Phoenix comes from the primordial universe, born at the beginning of all things, an eternal but impermanent existence, the sun of the universe. It is the embodiment of life and spiritual power in the primordial universe. This gold list can actually improve them all, so it means that their 5 creation gods can also get an unimaginable improvement from it. But why are we not eligible to be on the list? Galactus clenched his fist and said it with some displeasure. The other 4 also began to show their real figures and stood in the air, and they also felt that it was unreasonable for them not to be on the gold list. It's not just that the 5 creator gods think it's wrong, Marvel's powerhouses all think why they can't make it to the rankings. Thanos is even more troubled, claiming to be a genius, but now he hasn't even made it to the potential list, which is too embarrassing in front of the goddess of death. Advertisement. There is no potential ranking list, 5 god tier Ming and others are all looking towards the most powerful list that has fully appeared. The number 1 on both lists is the same person. Immediately, the eyes of the 5 creation gods changed, and they all saw Xia Xing's name on the strength list. Not only Sha Shing, the second place is also in the same position on both lists, Sayu. Focus on the name, and you will recognize who is on the list. When they saw that Sha Shing, who ranked first, was a lazy young man, everyone in the Marvel world was stunned. Quote. The number 1, Sha Shing, seems too young. Idiot, how can you underestimate him just because he is young? It is definitely not easy for him to be number 1 on the gold list. Look, the second, third, and fourth are all with him, and they seem to recognize his strength. And their challenge objects are all the first-rank mouth areas. Most of the Marvel world began to pay attention to the number 1 Sha Shing, making various observations and discussions. Except for Qi Yu, everyone looked at Sha Xingshun with complicated expressions. Quan Wang knew Sha Xing's appearance when he saw it, and began to laugh naively. Being rejected by Sha Shing decisively, the 5 creation gods couldn't bear it anymore, and the voice resounding through the earth questioned Sha Shing loudly. Sha Shing picked up the wine bottle with a smile, and looked at the projection of the Marvel world indifferently. Sha Shing shook his head helplessly. Among the messages in his mind, one by one rejected the challenge. Li La Jiao. But a group of powerful and top people, such as Thanos, Captain Marvel, etc., and the 5 creation gods have doubts in their hearts. Everyone more or less suffered from Sha Xing's loss at that time, or was shocked by Sha Shing. Everyone in the Marvel world, who didn't know that projections could also communicate, took a brief look at the double list, and then began to challenge in the way Jinbang said. Pirate World, during the banquet on White Lion Island. The first place is so attractive. Every time New World joins, after accepting the information, it is Sha Shing who is challenged. The 5 creation gods, Thanos, Captain Marvel, and even Thor have come to challenge. These guys are not enough to fight by themselves, it's boring, not to mention that they just finished fighting, and they are too lazy to move. Is this the way to maintain the first place? Don't dare to fight. I don't have time to accept. There is still water in this gold list. How strong can a 20-year-old be to me? They're all here to challenge you. Chapter 267 Galactus vs. Saitama. Advertisement. The voices of the 5 creation gods sounded, and finally everyone on the Earth discovered the 5 creation gods with a terrifying atmosphere on the atmosphere. What are they? Iron Man Tony, Captain Star, and even Captain Marvel don't know who the 5 powerful figures really are. The Protoss of Asgard, Thor, the god of thunder, was released. That's the 5 creation gods. These 5 gods have built a complete multiverse, they are real gods. Saul didn't expect that these gods in the true sense would really appear here, and couldn't help explaining to everyone in shock. Suddenly there was a burst of exclamation and shock. Sha Shing, who heard the questioning at the Beishi Island banquet, looked indifferent. It's too troublesome to fight one by one. You find the second place to fight. With a wave of his hand, Sha Shing pushed it to Kyu who lacked blood to fight. This invincible and lonely bald head is suitable for you to play. No problem, the strongest one of you will come out and challenge. Saitama did not refuse this meeting, but stood up enthusiastically, pretending to be provocative. The 5 so-called gods seemed to be pretty good, quite strong. The Avengers were alright, watching quietly, but Wu God Tier Ming, Thanos and the others were not so good-tempered, and became annoyed one after another. The first place Sha Shing looked like no one, and the second place Kyu was even more rude. 110 inches I'm going to teach this bald man a lesson. Galactus stared at Saitama, and challenged Saitama to Jinbang in his mind. Saitama saw that she was one of the 5 most powerful breaths and immediately accepted the challenge. Competition on the strongest strength list, Galactus challenges Saitama. Close black lens bracket. As soon as the competition information appeared, other people in the Marvel world watched it seriously. Especially the Avengers are still a little confused. It was a big battle just now, and it suddenly developed into a battle with other worlds to win the rankings. However, everyone still looked up at the special battle space that was slowly forming. The preparation time was very fast, and Saitama moved his hands and feet, and then teleported into the battle space. On Beishi Island, everyone was very calm, not as dazed as they were in the Marvel world. In this new world, it seems that there is also a big gap in strength. Billis ate the delicious food, and said with a look of enjoyment. Encountering the monster Saitama should also be their arrogant challenge. Advertisement. After all, it's a world, maybe the real strong hasn't come out yet. Sha Shing chuckled, crossed his legs, and sat paralyzed to watch the battle. In the field of battle space, Galactus, who was several times taller than Saitama, exuded a terrifying energy aura, staring at Saitama firmly. It was also the first time for Saitama to face this kind of dimensional power system, and he was a little curious and didn't make a direct move. Boom. All of a sudden, thanks to the place. Galactus was unceremonious, completely surpassing the sound speed of the sprint blast, and punched Saitama with a fierce force. And the bald-headed Saitama seemed to have not reacted, and was still punched in the head by Galactus. The whole body was blown out close to the ground, dragging out a messy ravine. But Saitama still has that paralyzed face, even if he is actually flying upside down, he hasn't changed much. Obviously, the power of swallowing stars has not completely threatened Saitama. Tun Xing obviously didn't stop there. After punching Saitama flying, a violent energy shock was released from his body, hitting Saitama who was flying upside down. A powerful explosion swept across in an instant and spread in all directions. Little bald head, how do you feel about this blow? Quote. Tun Xing chuckled. Under his explosive offensive, no one could hold on without being injured. Even eternity and infinity have to be affected. But when the huge smoke dissipated, Saitama was still intact, standing in the big crater created by the explosion and scratching his cheek. Saitama's physical body has opened up the limit, the source of power in the true sense, this Galactus still underestimates. Sha Shing shook Erlang's legs and watched leisurely. Obviously Kyu felt that Tun Xing should hit him to see his strength. As a result, there was no threat to myself, and I was a little disappointed. Tun Xing was also taken aback, his eyes fixed. Such a powerful energy impact can't hurt this guy. The next moment, Tun Xing rushed up directly, using both hands and feet, interspersed with various energy bursts. The entire battle space is being destroyed. But Kyu didn't fight back, and remained motionless. People in the other 3 worlds have seen it, which is not bad, but everyone in the Marvel world is dumbfounded. This is Galactus, one of the 5 creation gods. It's okay to let him go out and beat him up like crazy, right? Advertisement. The ground of the special space has been shattered under the violent bombardment. The more Tun Xing hit, the more ugly his expression became. The bald Saitama was still blinking his eyes, he was fine at all, and he was beaten passively all the time, without fighting back at all. Then devour you. Turn into my energy. Tun Xing was very upset, grabbed Saitama, launched a powerful devouring force, and swallowed Saitama whole. Immediately, the people watching the battle were in an uproar again, and even the people watching the battle in the whole world were shocked. Unprepared and swallowed, Saitama won't just lose, right? The rest of Marvel's 4 god-tier civilizations are all smiles, being swallowed by the star. Basically the outcome has been decided, even the planet can swallow all the energy. Is this bald Saitama more powerful than a planet? But the next moment, they were dumbfounded. Before Galactus could be happy, his eyes suddenly widened. With a bang, the entire stomach exploded. Planet Devourer failed the challenge. Close black lens bracket. Originally thought it would be a bloody battle, but the result. This is the god who was born with them. In terms of physical strength and energy, they are not generally strong, and they were hit by one move in seconds. If you are so weak, don't challenge Sha Shing, even I can't beat Sha Shing. Saitama broke Tun Xing's stomach with a punch, and jumped out, and the energy like a small star leaked crazily. The place covered by the shadow of the fist smashed the entire body of Devourer to pieces. Even in the Marvel world, people like Thor, together with the enemies on the opposite side, Thanos and his gang also looked shocked. Even the four god tier Mings were shocked and a little dazed. Swallowing Stars was killed in seconds. Swallowing Star, although he is not the strongest, he is still one of the creation gods, how could he be so vulnerable? This is unbelievable. What's the situation? Saitama scratched his head and said helplessly. Bang bang bang. The gold list announced the results. Seeing the result, everyone in the Marvel world was stunned. Consecutive serious punches. Saitama who jumped out turned around, and a large fist shadow immediately enveloped the past. Chapter 268. Iron Man Team Green Titans collectively lost. Advertisement. Saitama exits the combat space. Everyone in the Marvel world and the gods looked at Sha Shing, who was ranked first, in surprise. That's right, even the second-ranked Q said that, and said that he is not as good as Sha Shing, so his strength will definitely be stronger. And at this time, the battle is over. The body of Galactus was recovered by Jinbang directly on the battlefield. In the battle space, no matter what you fight, you won't die. Galactus was also a little dazed. What is the origin of this gold list that even he can recover directly? Everyone in the Marvel world shrank their pupils and reacted. A battle without death is more attractive to participate in. Iron Man Tony, Captain America, Green Titan Hulk and others looked at each other, a little eager to try. Rewards, strength enhancement. As long as you succeed, you will be able to get promoted soon to fight against the tyrant's army. And if you become stronger, you will not be afraid of other people coming to invade the earth and snatch the original stone. Friday, analyze, who is the most suitable for me to challenge? Iron Man Tony immediately asked about artificial intelligence. Sir, if you want to challenge, I suggest starting from the last place. Friday's answer made Tony helpless. Is he that weak? After thinking about it, after all, it is the top 50 people in other worlds, so let's start from the last place to challenge and give it a try. The American team, the Green Titan Hulk, was also eager to move, and chose an opponent. Therefore, the challenge information was announced again on the gold list. All of a sudden everyone's attention was attracted to the past. Tony Stark challenges Uchiha Madara. Close black lens bracket. Hulk challenges Edward Newgate. Close black lens bracket. Steven challenges the Hungry Wolf. Close black lens bracket. Marvel's three heroes challenged, and the US team even boldly challenged the top 10 Hungry Wolves. The three of Uchiha Madara naturally accepted the challenge, and 3 battle space projections appeared in the air. As soon as the preparation time came, the 6 of them were teleported in. It's not the kind of top powerhouse who can't feel the difference in the balance of dimensional power. The 3 of Iron Man looked curiously at the magical battle space around them, and then looked at their respective opponents in readiness. Be the first to strike. Advertisement. Tony muttered, then flew up, and the nano launcher unfolded behind him. The powerful beam of energy from the reactor was launched. Uchiha Madara didn't know how strong the opponent was. In perception, Tony is just like an ordinary person, but with a strange feeling, he suddenly becomes a 6 paths form. Truth-seeking ball formed a shield in front of him, and shook his palm against Iron Man Tony. Planetary devastation. Boom. The energy beam hit the truth-seeking ball and bounced off. And Tony is wearing steel armor, limited by Rinnegan's ability, completely unable to break free from the terrifying suction. All the mud and stones on the ground flew up, and continuously gathered towards Iron Man and condensed together, forming a huge planet in the sky. Burst. Uchiha Madara went all out with a one-handed sigil, and cracks appeared on planetary devastation. It seemed that powerful energy was solidified, and then exploded. Tony's steel suit was scattered all over the ground by a set of combos. At the same time, the other side, as soon as the Green Titan Hulk came up, he ran towards Whitebeard Newgate fiercely. The current Green Titan Hulk is a state of being one with Banner. Taking the initiative to attack has also been considered, and you can't wait for the opponent to use the means first. And Whitebeard Newgate's figure is taller than the Green Titan, which gives Hulk a lot of pressure. Gu la la la. Brute force combat. Seeing the Green Titan running over in a daze, Whitebeard and Newgate directly hit with a white halo on his hand. Shock fruit ability plus hot fruit ability. While the air was torn apart, the powerful vibration force hit Hulk with scorching heat. Boom. Even the ground was directly lifted off a large piece, and Hulk didn't even have a fulcrum to exert force, so he was directly blasted out. There is no resistance. What kind of power is this? The Green Titan Hulk flew upside down and the god was shocked, smashing a big hole in the ground. His whole body was shaking and uncomfortable, and he also felt extremely hot, and his green skin was scalded with white smoke. Whitebeard and Newgate didn't expect that such a foolish person would be hit head on by himself. Advertisement. The next moment, the Green Man roared furiously. Ask for flowers. Huge stones were thrown towards Whitebeard and Newgate continuously from the pit, extremely swift and violent. But this level of attack is too childish for the current Whitebeard Newgate. You don't even need to defend yourself, the stone you threw directly passed through your body. Sparkling fruit ability elementalization. An attack of pure strength cannot cause harm to oneself at all. As far as these methods are concerned, let's stop here. Kong Yunchi turned his hands, and Newgate jumped over with his whole body, and slashed down with Haki and his ability. The worst was the battle between Captain America and Hungry Wolf. The physique that is 50-50 with everyone is useless in the battle space. Point 0. Holding a shield, he launched an attack against the Hungry Wolf, and Steve tried to fight in close quarters to give full play to his advantages. However, it was only when they were facing each other that the real gap was discovered. The Hungry Wolf in his hand, which was like running water, firmly suppressed the US Team Steve in terms of speed and strength. After one round, Steve's whole body was dislocated, and he fell to the ground in an abnormal posture, spitting blood. At this level, let's practice more. The Hungry Wolf smiled disdainfully, turned around and teleported out. The Hungry Wolf wins. Close black lens bracket. Newgate wins. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Uchiha Madara wins. Close black lens bracket. Almost at the same time, all three won. In the Marvel world, everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. Iron Man Tony, Captain America Steve, and Green Titan Hulk almost lost in a face-to-face confrontation. There was no power to resist and it was completely abused. How come, are the people in those worlds so powerful? Thor, who didn't play, was deeply shocked, and he was very clear about the strength of these three. Especially the Green Titan Hulk, whose infinite power frightened the Protoss of Asgard. Galactus and the other four were completely speechless, watching with extremely solemn eyes. The defeat of the three directly aroused the repercussions of the Avengers. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, and even Thanos as their enemy all looked disbelieving and began to pick and challenge. Chapter 269 The Five Creation Gods PK Saitama. Advertisement. Sha Shing smiled and watched from the viewing platform. The people around were puzzled. Why is this newly entered world so weak? There are even ordinary people who come in with armor on. During the banquet on the island, everyone was talking about it, and some didn't understand. Isn't this kind of world just looking for abuse? What's the point? The gold list will not let the meaningless world come over. After the god-tier officer finished speaking, he looked at Sha Shing and said pointedly. A world that is incapable of confrontation is also looking for abuse when it comes. How could the gold list make such a low-level mistake? Really? Sha Shing also nodded, and at first he wondered if the Marvel world had made a mistake. But when the five creation gods appeared, they understood that not all the weak were in this world. It's like the world of One Punch Man, except for Saitama, 750, is so-so. In the Marvel world, apart from the gods, everything else is so-so. After all, Iron Man is not the strongest form yet, according to the development, there are still things to wait, and there are too many variables in this Marvel world, so it is not surprising that a few strong ones have come out. Just as everyone on Beishi Island was chatting, the challenge message appeared again on the gold list. Doctor Strange challenges Zeus. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Spider-Man challenges Uchiha Madara. Close black lens bracket. Captain Marvel challenges Champa. Close black lens bracket. Thanos challenges Beerus. Close black lens bracket. Sha Shing couldn't help shaking his head with these four challenges, feeling a little helpless. Spider-Man seems to be trying to get Iron Man back. When Doctor Strange saw the gods in the world of the gods, he was surprised that there was a god with the same name as their world, so he couldn't help but want to challenge and give it a try. However, Captain Marvel and Thanos chose two gods of destruction when choosing their opponents. Isn't this looking for abuse? It was just as Sha Shing expected. 4 matches began. From the very beginning, Spider-Man fell into Rinnegan's pupil force, attraction, repulsion, Susanoo, completely unable to resist in every move, and was finally burned to ashes by the fire of Amaterasu. Advertisement. Doctor Strange confronts the All-Father from another dimension. At the beginning, various spells were used to defuse Zeus's attack. It wasn't until Zeus took out the form of a Tuo's whiskers that the time-transcending style of play left the weak Doctor Strange with no time to cast spells. Captain Marvel faced Champa, and the power from the original Space Stone was directly broken by Champa's brute force. Capable of penetrating space-class battleships, the planet's super energy is in the face of the destructive power of the god of destruction, which easily destroys galaxies. Captain Marvel fights against Titan with the strength of a child. The worst thing is to choose Beerus Thanos. Thanos in the normal state is not even an opponent of Captain Marvel, let alone Beerus, who is almost the scariest among gods of destruction. The result is self-evident, Beerus was pulverized with one punch. They have no way to resist, nor can they understand the strength of the strong people on the gold list. Almost all of the two powerhouses in the Marvel world were abused. All of a sudden, not only the world was shocked, but even the 5 creation gods couldn't hold back their face. After all, this world is their world, why is it so vulnerable? You all, stop. Eternal, the embodiment of the Marvel Universe multiverse, spoke and made everyone else stop the challenge. They figured it out. On the gold list are all figures who stand at the top of their respective worlds. Judging from their classification, at least they are all at the level of the gods of the universe, and they are not something that these guys in the single universe can fight against. However, the faces of the 5 creation gods couldn't hold back either. If you challenge the low position, you may be able to win 1 or 2, but this is too cheap for them. 5 of us up, challenged the guy with the highest ranking. Immersed in death for a long time, made up my mind and said with the 4 gods of eternity, annihilation, swallowing stars, and infinity. The 4 gods have not spoken yet. On the contrary, in the world of pirates, at the banquet on Shiraishi Island, Saitama, Beerus, Hungry Wolf, and even the god-tier officials looked over with interest. You can challenge me. The Hungry Wolf looked excited, wanting to try the power of the 4 strange beings opposite. If one can't beat me, the 5 of you might be under pressure if you fight together. Hugh didn't think it was enough just now, so he couldn't help but raised his hands and shouted, and suggested that it would be better for the 5 of them to go up together. From the beginning, the scene of the challenge makes me enjoy myself. The god-tier officer and Beerus also said that they can beat the 4 of them one by one. Advertisement. This attitude immediately made the creation god annoyed. They are too contemptuous of them. Sha Shing also touched his cheek. If the 5 gods go up together, it can really put pressure on Beerus and the others. It's just that Tungsing is obviously not full, otherwise the power of fighting Kyu just now is too weak. Very good. Tungsing stared at Kyu for a while with a displeased face, then turned back to look at death, annihilating the 4 gods. The meaning is very clear, then 5 people will fight the second Saitama. Super challenge launched, daily challenge postponed. Close black lens bracket. After it was really confirmed, the 5 Marvel creator gods launched a challenge, and Saitama also accepted the challenge. A super challenge space is formed. All 6 were teleported in. Kyu looked excited and moved his body, expecting this to be a big battle. Thanos' gaze was mainly focused on death, and he slowly sat down on a stone. With a dozen of more than 5.3, there have been many worlds so far, and only Sha Shing and the god-tier officer have opened them. Every battle is a shocking battle. The 5 creation gods fight one at a time. This kind of thing has never happened before. Even if it is the second place on the gold list, it is no stronger than these 5. Eternity, annihilation, and infinity are all abstract existences of human figures. The vulnerable defeat by Beerus just now made him feel a little decadent, and now he also hopes to win a game, no matter what the form is. And the 5 god-tier civilizations have all seen the horror of Saitama, and they are ready to fight. But the 5 creation gods on the opposite side had a cold expression. Everyone is a little curious. Everyone in Superman World, Dragon Ball World, and One Piece World saw the opening of the Super Challenge, and they were all in an uproar and a little fanatical. Chi Yu looked at it and scratched his head. Everyone in the Marvel World swallowed their throats and became a little nervous. In the current Super Challenge space, Yu even doubted whether he could hit their bodies with a punch. Your bodies are so strange. Of the 5 creation gods, only death and devouring the stars is a normal human state. Time and space are beginning to affect the entire battle space. The ability of the body has already begun to play. This time Kyu is fighting against 5 powerful guys on the other side. Can he crush like God-tier officer and Sha Shing? Chapter 270. The Super Challenge is over. Advertisement. The creation gods of the Marvel world each have their own representative powers. Infinity represents space. Eternity has the ability to control time. Death and annihilation represent nothingness and death, respectively. Start a war. The power of eternal time began to affect Saitama's whole body. Swallowing stars and death took advantage of this opportunity to use their means. Xing hit Saitama with infinite energy. The strange force of death tugged at Saitama's soul even more. Led by time and space. Almost in an instant, Xing slammed against Saitama with infinite power. But to the astonishment of the 5 god-tier civilizations, neither soul, time, nor space can contain Saitama. Not good. His strength surpasses ours. Eternal was the first to discover that Saitama was not affected at all. Before he finished speaking, Saitama raised his fist. Consecutive serious punches. The violent fist shadow once again covered the swallowing star. Xing's body had no resistance, and all the blows were broken. However, the result of swallowing stars this time was different. The eternity of the power of time made a huge roar. Starlight Madara's gorgeous palm turned to the broken swallowing star. Turn back time. Xing's body recovered, and time continued to act on him, and he regressed to the state of swallowing energy, just at the peak of his body. Okay, Saitama, you can try again. Swallowing star recovered, and was immediately overjoyed. The huge body has the terrifying energy of the heyday. Immediately, the fist was shining like a star, and it hit Saitama again like a planet hitting it. The eternity and infinity on the other side exert their strength again. Bless Xing's fist with the power of space, and affect Saitama's reaction and punching speed with the power of time. Death turned into black smoke and entwined on Xing's fist. This blow not only caused the same damage to the body, but also to the soul. Advertisement. Saitama in front of Xing also showed a strange expression. This big guy has recovered, and has a stronger restraint on himself. With a burst of strength all over his body, he raised his fist seriously, and collided with Xing's big fist. A loud bang. The earth, all cracked and collapsed. The aftermath of the energy even blew away all the clouds in the sky, covering the battle space with a dark color. This time, Xing's arm with the blessing of death and infinity was not directly shattered, but staggered back a few steps. It's confirmed. The power of time, the power of death, and the power of space can't affect him. Not even nothingness can affect. Eternity, infinity, and annihilation were finally confirmed, and their voices trembled. What are you doing? Kyu's expression gradually became excited, and Tun Xing resisted his own attack, which meant that they could really fight against him. You will know if you hit it. Annihilation's entire body turned into a black human form, and together with Tun Xing, he rushed towards Saitama. Eternity and infinity merged together, also rushing towards Saitama, and death turned into a state of soul blessing. They understand that abilities are useless to Kitama, so they can only rely on physical strength and energy to defeat Kitama. Death blesses the body, and then turns into a dazzling yellow light cluster. The terrifying soul energy forms a beam of light and shoots violently towards the past. Passing along the way, even the space has ripples. Saitama frowned, and punched out the soul ray directly and seriously, but at the same time, eternity and infinity, swallowing stars and annihilation have already arrived in front of him. A sure blow. Saitama deflected the ray with a punch, turned around directly, the violent power condensed on the fist and then exploded. The terrifying fist wind directly shattered the attacking star swallowing and so on, and even the point where it pointed, even the super battle space was cracked, exposing the void. However, with the miraculous power of the 5 creation gods, they immediately recovered their stature and retreated again and again. This is the eternal and infinite power of time and space, so that 5 people can be instantly restored even if they are smashed. Moreover, it has the power of regeneration of death to protect the soul, and annihilation keeps the imprint of the soul in nothingness. The 5 god-tier civilizations complement each other, just like 5 true immortal bodies. This made Kyu a little helpless. The 4 worlds that were fighting outside the space were even more dumbfounded. The marble world is okay, and even many people cheered after being shocked. Advertisement. No matter how strong this Saitama is, he will never be an opponent of the 5 gods. People in the other 3 worlds were a little dull, and had never seen such a method. Saitama can blow them up with every hit, but they just recover in an instant, and it doesn't even look like it consumes much. Are these guys really gods? This is too exaggerated. There was a lot of discussion among the people, and it was true that this melee-like scene was too shocking. Saitama kept throwing punches, hitting them one after another. But it's okay for them to resist, and if they fail to resist, they can recover instantly and return to their heyday. Now Saitama is in trouble. Even the god-tier officer looked at it strangely. In a situation like this, there is only one ability to completely defeat them, not to mention that Saitama does not have special abilities. Completely break through all methods, but temporarily unable to break through. It was very interesting for Sha Shing and Quan Wang to watch this gorgeous battle. Even Quan Wang 163 is a little eager to try. These 5 are the creation gods, and their status is similar to that of Quan Wang, who is also the supreme ruler of the universe. And the battle on the field is becoming more and more intense, and the action is getting faster and faster. In the end, neither side could do anything to the other until the 2 hours were up. Super challenge is over. Double Fang Ping hands. Close black lens bracket. Unable to resist, Saitama and the 5 creation gods were sent out. The most powerful gold list also changed accordingly. 5 god-tier civilizations were also on the gold list. Except for Star Swallowing, which is ranked 9th, Death, Annihilation, Infinity, and Eternity are all ranked 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. People in the 4 worlds were surprised. The world of Pirates, the world of Dragon Ball, and the world of Superman all thought that the people in the Marvel world were so weak that they would not be ranked high. I can't imagine that the ranking of these 5 god-tier civilizations is so high. In the Marvel world, everyone on Thanos' side couldn't help being excited. Everyone was shocked by Kyu's strength against the 5 creation gods alone, and they felt a little relieved. It's not that I can't be on the list of the strongest in my own world. It's just that if the 5 god-tier Mings can see their faces clearly, they will find that they are all extremely ugly. Their energy consumes the entire multiverse. And that's it, I didn't beat Saitama. Chapter 271. King Quan kills Galactus in one shot. Advertisement. Many people on the side of the Avengers have not fully accepted the escalation of the battle at this time. Suddenly, the battle has escalated into a challenge from all worlds. And we have to face the situation where the world is being swallowed and merged. White Lion Island. Quan Wang's small body floated up, looking at the names on the gold list with interest. My lord, Dao also wants to go up to play. The god-tier officer followed Quan Wang and asked from the side. I want to fight against the creation gods of other worlds. Quan Wang was grinning, his thoughts touched the gold list, and he directly challenged the creation gods of the Marvel world. The Quan Wang belongs to the party that takes the initiative to challenge and cannot launch a super challenge, but everyone wants to fight, so they directly challenge one by one. This looks good. King Quan is in a good mood, he wants to pierce the 5 creation gods. Sha Shing adjusted and lay down in a more comfortable position, leisurely. The power of the king versus the power of the 5 creation gods. It is a spectacle. Sure enough, the first one to receive the challenge from the All-King was Galactus. The 5 god tier who just came out not long ago, Ming Zheng accepted the reward of the gold list, felt his energy soar, and raised the upper limit of various abilities. I was shocked in my heart, for gods like them who were born with the universe are too beyond cognition, shocking the world. At this time, the challenge from Quan Wang was prompted in Tun Xing's consciousness. All-King. Tun Xing looked into the projection, and found that it was a short figure who looked like a child. Quan Wang was ranked in order to travel the world, but the ranking was not high, but the sense of oppression on his body was terrifying, which surprised the 5 god tier civilizations. What is this guy from? HMPH, we're on the power list, do you think you can beat us casually? It seems that there is still enough fear for you. Tun Xing was already upset. Although Quan Wang had an inexplicable sense of oppression, he still chose to accept the challenge. The moment of acceptance, Jinbang announced the challenge information. The king of all challenged Galactus. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. The two sides entered the battlefield. The Quan King is earnestly ascertaining the power on Galactus. What's interesting is that unlike the Golden List, which is difficult to find, Quan Wang's detection can clearly detect the source of power knows in another universe. From the perspective of Galactus, Quan Wang stared at him as if in a daze, and did not move. However, Swallowing Star was about to unleash his energy, when he wanted to smash all Akoku into dust with one punch. The small body suddenly appeared floating in front of Tun Xing. The tiny arms glowed with dazzling light, and stretched out to Tun Xing's head. No. There was surprise in Tun Xing's eyes, but the next moment he became horrified. Under the shroud of Quan Wang's light, the energy of the whole body is tightly gathered, and it is impossible to mobilize at all. I watched helplessly as the light that made me tremble stretched out, and then turned into ashes. The king wins. Close black lens bracket. Jinbang announced the result. Quan Wang's name also replaced Tun Xing's name. When Tun Xing's figure recovered in the Marvel world, he was still in a state of fear. This shocked the four gods of death, annihilation, eternity and infinity. Star swallowing, it will disappear when it is directly touched by the light. And the challenges sent out in succession sent the next death into it. What kind of existence are you? Death instinctively felt that Quan Wang was extraordinary, and in terms of life level, he felt that Quan Wang was higher than them. That in itself is incredible. They are the existences that make up the entire multiverse, gods in the true sense. If you beat me, I'll tell you. You are the power of the soul. Even the voice of Quan Wang is immature, and once again perceives the source of death's power. Death is the embodiment of a woman, who is looking at Quan Wang in amazement at this time, but is on guard in his heart, paying attention to Quan Wang's movements. But at the next moment, it was still the same dodge that made Death unable to react, and the small hand stretched out towards Death with a dazzling light. It's already ready. Death's heart tightened, but fortunately, he reacted when Quan Wang stretched out his hand. Advertisement. The energy on his body appeared in his hand, and he caught it towards Quan Wang. But in the end, as soon as he came into contact with the light of Quan Wang, even the energy of Death began to disappear and become invisible. Death even showed a frightened expression, and then turned into nothingness. The mighty power of Quan Wang surprised everyone. The remaining annihilation, infinity, and eternity can't help being dull. But they couldn't stop. The five of them accepted the challenge unanimously and had to carry it out to the end. Watching Death congeal again and annihilation appearing again, he still couldn't stop Quan Wang's seemingly ordinary attack. Dodging forward, the palm of the hand stretched out with force, and everything it touched, including the original strength of the body, was disintegrated. The infinity that follows is equally futile. The power of space seems to be non-existent in front of Quan Wang, winning more easily. Until the last eternity played. Only then did he receive the terrifying light of destruction repeated by Quan Wang. This is the time flow that was set after eternity entered, and it was resurrected once it was annihilated. In the end, he still couldn't stand Quan Wang's terrifying ability to turn all matter into nothingness, and was defeated. The five creation gods were all terrified. They wanted to know what kind of existence the king who had defeated them with one hand was. Quote. Now, can you tell? The five creation gods passed the projection and couldn't help asking loudly. The great Quan Wang is the lord of all things in the 12 universes of our good Qianzhou world, the oldest god, and rules everything in the universe. Only then did the god-tier official announce the status of Quan Wang to the people of all worlds for the first time instead of Quan Wang. Immediately caused a sensation. The top level of the Dragon Ball world is obviously higher than other worlds, and this King of Kings turned out to be such a terrifying existence. The five creation gods are just gods, it doesn't mean they are the rulers, no wonder, they will be defeated by the power of the king. But Sha Shing knew that in fact, the king of the Dragon Ball world did not fight, and it could even be said that he, who became the lord of all things, did not need to fight at all. Even if he was fighting against himself, he didn't fight, it was just stretching out his energy. At this time, the king was stunned by everyone. Zeno continued to challenge Saitama who was in second place. Quan Wang, are you still fighting me? Saitama looked confused, but accepted the challenge anyway. Chapter 272 The Life Tribunal appears. Advertisement. Saitama seems to be going to the extreme of power, and the king who has become the lord of all things only uses energy and does not exert a little power. Sha Shing understood it this way. Of course, now that the two are fighting in a special space, Qiyu is definitely not Quan Wang's opponent. Say goodbye to the various reservations that you have learned from before. Saitama knew how powerful Quan Wang was, and launched an extremely violent attack. The shots are all must-kill series. Quan Wang didn't evade, Quan took Saitama's attack. The terrifying fist wind raged through the entire battle space, and the blows kept vibrating, almost completely destroying it. However, Quan Wang was still not injured under this kind of offensive, instead, he was floating like a kite. This kind of power also made the five creation gods and people in the Marvel world shocked, even the people in the other three worlds also watched the battle with enthusiasm. Quan Wang finally started to fight back, the light of one hand collided with Saitama's fist. The terrifying energy fluctuated, and Saitama roared and flew upside down. Must kill. Hiyu managed to stabilize his figure, and was about to make another move, when suddenly with a flash, Quan Wong appeared in front of him with his hands shining. The dazzling 640 light instantly enveloped Saitama. The king challenged successfully. Close black lens bracket. The ranking on the gold list was refreshed again, ranking second in the entire throne. Saitama is back in the original place of One Piece world. Quan Wong also sent back after finishing the fight. And the reward was of no use to Quan Wong, so he sat back to his original position with a smile on his face. The people watching the battle have only reacted now, and swallowed their throats. The 5 creation gods were shocked, but they also wondered why Quan Wong didn't continue to fight. Quan Wong, you have already challenged to the second place, why don't you continue to fight against the first place? The sound of swallowing stars resounding through the planet passed through. It should be said that the 5 god tier Mings all wanted to see the strength of the number 1 Sha Shing. After all, King Quan and Kitama are already strong enough, how strong will this lazy guy be? Well, no more fights. I've fought. I'm not Sha Xing's opponent. I can't win. Advertisement. Quan Wong answered seriously, but this answer really surprised everyone in the 5 god tier civilizations in the Marvel world. Has King Quan fought against Sha Shing? And according to CC, King Quan, he still lost. How strong is this number 1? Iron Man Stark, Captain Marvel, these people, including Thanos, have cold sweat on their foreheads. Just now whether it is Saitama or Quan Wong, including the 5 god tier Ming battles, they have seen it clearly. Quan Wong completely defeated the 5 creation gods by virtue of the terrifying power of annihilation in his hands, and even that Saitama couldn't hold on. Even the 5 creation gods feel that if this kind of power erupts in the universe, a multiverse might not be able to withstand it, so it can't pose a threat to the number 1 Sha Shing. I have seen the other 3 worlds before, and they are not as shocking as before, but everyone in the Marvel world can't help but be more impressed by Zhengxing. Just then, both Sha Shing and Quan Wong looked up at the projection of Marvel world. The 5 creation gods of the Marvel world and others can also feel a tremor in their hearts. Everyone looked at the original battlefield between the Avengers and Thanos. There, a tall golden titan close to thousands of minds suddenly appeared. In particular, there are 3 different faces on the strange 4-faced head, and the last one is still extremely smooth, like a mirror. The Tribunal of Life. This is interesting, won't OAA really appear? Even Sha Shing couldn't help murmuring at this moment. This Marvel world seems to be a complete omnipotent universe. The power of this life tribunal is obviously very powerful and terrifying. It is no exaggeration to say that it is much, much stronger than the kings who are not in the Dragon Ball world. How to say this is also an existence that controls the entire omnipotent universe and countless multiverses. Everyone looked at the life court that suddenly appeared with some horror. Only a handful of people recognize the existence of the Tribunal of Life. For example, the 5 creation gods, although it is the first time for them to see. But more or less like to know something. Another example is that Doctor Strange, who is about to become the Supreme Mage, also opened his eyes wide at this time, looking at the existence in front of him in disbelief. This kind of horror has reached the breadth of ultimate, and this appearance is exactly the same as what I know. Advertisement. The 5 god tier Ming, Doctor Strange, Thanos, and some people who knew about it all bowed respectfully to the Court of Life. Could it be that this gold list and projection have been displayed in the entire almighty universe? None of the 5 creation gods thought of it. I thought it was just this multiverse. If this is the case, then how terrifying this gold list would be. This simply made them dare not even think about it. It is true that the magic of Jinbang has covered the almighty universe, more precisely, the entire Marvel universe can see and perceive the existence of Jinbang. It's just that in this universe and this Earth today, it is the origin of the Jinbang projection hanging. That's why the Tribunal of Life, who noticed the challenge of the battle, also rushed over. Now I am also curiously looking at the gold list in the sky and the world projection. Could it be that the ability of this gold list is more terrifying than the Supreme OAA? King Quan looked at the Golden Titan, the life court with 3 faces, and then chose to accept it. There is no doubt that this is an absolutely terrifying battle. Tun Xing laughed straight, looking forward to it. These 2 are the 2 strongest guys in the world in all appearances. I can't detect the source, I can't detect its existence. Now, it's time for them to try and lose. Sha Xing's figure changed, and his expression became serious. This had to make the Life Tribunal think more, and simulated it in his mind. It's kind of funny, one of Marvel's top gods versus one of the oldest gods in Dragon Ball. Quan Wong was beside Sha Shing, really playing with Sha Xing's comic book, and didn't pay much attention, but the message from Jinbang in his consciousness. Afterwards, the helpless Tribunal of Life looked at Quan Wong, who had defeated the 5 creation gods, and challenged the Jinbang. Life Tribunal challenges the king. Close black lens bracket. The Life Tribunal is also transformed from living beings, so it naturally has its own thoughts. During the investigation, it was also shocked by the gold list, which cannot penetrate at all. Marvel's 5 god-tier civilizations are even more excited, is the Great Tribunal of Life saving face for them. Before Sha Shing could reply, Quan Wong was sent into the super battle space. It's really an honor. He challenged me. Chapter 273 The Life Tribunal challenges Sha Shing. Advertisement. Special combat space. The huge Life Tribunal stood on the ground, looking at the small body floating on the opposite side, Quan Wong. You run 12 multiverses, don't you? The voice of the life court is like a procedure, seemingly without emotion. He didn't make a move immediately, but detected the suppressive power around him and the power of the king. As soon as he entered here, the suppressing force of Jinbang's balanced dimensional force acted on the body of the Life Tribunal invisibly. This surprised the Life Tribunal. As the spokesperson of OAA, he has unlimited energy, but he was also suppressed by the gold list, which is inconceivable in itself. Yes, it is. Quan Wang was a little curious, why did the Life Tribunal talk about this during preparation time? But the universe of own world belongs to the multiverse. Then you are not my opponent, the laws of the universe at this level cannot cause harm to me. The tone of the life court is still the same, but the meaning is indeed very confident. From the previous challenge battles, it can be seen that the light that Quan Wang has been using is the way the rules of the universe are used, and the energy mobilized in other worlds is different. The Quan Wang didn't speak anymore, and what responded to the court of life was a palm glowing with bright light. This small palm slapped on the chest of the huge golden body of the Life Tribunal. The powerful power of annihilation spreads with the shining of the light. Everything in the super battle space is dying. And the gold list is also being repaired, but the life court in the center of the power of the king is not damaged at all. The existence of this omnipotent universe base level is terrifying. Useless. The life court said in a faint voice, and the huge palm roared and slapped Quan Wang's small body. It's like slapping a mosquito. Quan Wang was also taken aback, and for the first time showed a humane expression besides being happy, stunned. Then, the hands exploded with energy to block the palm of the Life Tribunal. But with just a slight pause, the whole body of the Holy King was sent flying away from the doctor. Fly directly to the extreme distance. This scene made the eyeballs of god-tier officers and gods of destruction almost pop out. Besides Sha Shing, there is actually an existence in another world who can shoot the King of Kings away. Advertisement. What a shocking thing this is. Even Sha Shing looked at it seriously. The Quan Wang's power to destroy all matter is completely useless against the Life Tribunal, and his body is huge and his strength is also strong. Sha Shing guessed and said, sweating for King Shaochuan in his heart. While Quan Wang was flying upside down, his whole body became brighter and brighter. In the end, it was like a star, shining brightly and possessing a terrifying temperature that plunged the entire battle space into scorching heat. In the next moment, it appeared in front of the Life Tribunal, and hit the past directly. Your power is not enough outside of your own universe, it can only be used to this extent at most. Both palms of the Life Tribunal have been lifted up, and the multicolored Madara light covers the hands, one hand blocks the Quan Wang, and the other directly grabs the Quan Wang. Boom! The terrible big explosion lights up. The entire land of the battle space disappeared completely, the sky was pitch black, only the energy shock waves glowed with colorful Madara brilliance. This scene is exactly the same as the explosion of the planet. All the cracks in the super battle space were blown out, but the Life Tribunal increased its strength, and the moment the explosion subsided, it grabbed Quan Wang's small body. Then, more powerful energy erupted from the Life Tribunal. The entire space is constantly being repaired by Jinbang, and then destroyed by the wrestling between the Life Tribunal and Quan Wang. When energy fluctuations shrouded the entire space, except Sha Shing, God-tier officer, Wu God-tier Ming, Saitama and other top powerhouses, everyone could no longer see the battlefield clearly. The Life Court challenge was successful. Close black lens bracket. Quan Wang was defeated, and his body collapsed directly when the energy of the two sides confronted each other. He cannot wield power that truly transcends the dimension of the combat space. And the cosmic energy of the Life Tribunal was even stronger, which made Quan Wang's body break down as he continued to improve, and he lost. It can even be said that the Life Court completely crushed the king in a special space. I really didn't expect. There are still ruthless people in the Marvel world. Even Sha Shing couldn't help being surprised. That's how King Quan lost. In the Marvel world, most people are shouting that the Life Court is invincible and powerful, even the 5 creation gods bow their heads in respect. And the world of Dragon Ball is completely deadpan, unbelievable. Sha Shing was not the only one who could defeat the entire king, what was even more frightening was that this was a 2-round crushing battle. Advertisement. Rot. The god-tier officer was stunned for a long time before shaking his head helplessly. There is a heaven beyond the sky. The god-tier officer flew in front of the a little angry Quan Wang, talking softly like a child. Even the world of pirates and the world of Superman did not expect that such an awesome existence would be crushed. So, a world is not that simple. Everyone couldn't help sighing. Originally thought that the newly emerged world was weak, and even the creation gods lost, so there was basically no suspense. It was still the world fusion competition between Sha Shing and Quan Wang, the two giants. This time, it was completely beyond imagination. After all, it was Sha Shing who did not fight Quan Wang so easily. And when everyone reacted individually, shocked, the news on the gold list once again caused an uproar. Life Tribunal challenges Sha Shing. Close black lens bracket. Jinbang announced the challenge information, obviously Sha Shing agreed to the challenge. The Marvel world undoubtedly wants to see how powerful the No. 1 Sha Shing is, and how much stronger than Quan Wang is. After all, in their cognition, it is impossible to lose as the strongest existence in the almighty universe. And the other 3 worlds have seen Sha Shing make a move, and now they are even more nervous. They didn't know why they didn't want Sha Shing to lose. On the contrary, everyone in One Piece world is still holding high, firmly believing that Sha Shing is invincible. Because this way has come this way, no matter how terrifying the opponent, Sha Shing has never missed it, and it's the same this time. White Lion, beat him hard. Newgate and others all cheered for Sha Shing, not to mention that after this banquet, they also liked this childlike Quan Wang very much. These pirate marines didn't take Quan Wang's noble status to heart at all. They were not the gods of their own world anyway, so they treated Quan Wang as a child. It's okay to beat him up. Ah Quan, wait a moment. Sha Shing laughed, the whole person disappeared, and was teleported into the intact super battle space instead. Seeing Sha Shing fighting with the Life Tribunal at this time, King Quan also clapped his hands, and returned to his original happy appearance, no longer angry. Sha Shing, you should win, right? Quan Wang clapped his hands and suddenly said, small. Chapter 274 The Horror of the Life Tribunal. Advertisement. After all, no one has ever seen Sha Shing fight with all his might. His true strength is still a mystery. At least, people in One Piece world think so. Sha Shing only used Conqueror's Haki all the way, and he didn't even use other abilities to fight against the enemy. The number 1 Sha Shing. I think I will soon lose to the Life Tribunal. Hurry up and admit defeat. No matter how strong you are no match for me. Wu God Tierming has been holding his breath, and now that Sha Shing is playing, he can't help reminding him, kindly. The people of One Piece world looked at the 5 God tier civilizations with disdain. These guys are still trying to save face and speak out to influence. But Sha Shing didn't care, and didn't hear it at this time. Because between the huge body twisting of the opposite life court, very noisy. The 3 faces of the Life Tribunal were full of expressions of surprise, which made him unable to help adjusting his body posture. Because Sha Shing floating in the air on the opposite side really made him feel strange. Sha Shing, who was restraining his strength, did not give the Life Tribunal a sense of strength, but a strange sense of danger. Even if you try your best to detect the past, it is like falling into the void, with no end and nothing. The first place is really extraordinary. What is the source of your strength? The face of the Life Tribunal turned and asked aloud. You can find out for yourself. Sha Shing looked at the Life Court and said calmly. Not at all affected by the breath on his body. You are immortal. With a bang, as the sound of the Life Court fell, his huge palm immediately slapped it over. Since Sha Shing said that he wants to investigate by himself, then he will do it himself. Before the palm arrived, the terrifying energy of the Life Court first rushed towards Sha Shing. But such turbulent energy fluctuations and palms were completely blocked from Sha Xing's 50 meters away. With the impact of huge power, the wind in the palm of the hand caused the ground in the battle space to crack open and fly away in an instant. Even Sha Xing's figure trembled, and Haki's defensive cover kept shrinking to about 10 meters before barely stopping. This time, even Sha Shing couldn't help being surprised. You are the first one who can shake me without breaking the defensive cover. Advertisement. Neither King Quan nor Saitama did it at the time. It has to be said that the Life Tribunal is the most powerful existence that Zhongxing has fought so far. Strength and energy are firmly in the first place. But this is not the case at all in the eyes of others. Everyone, including the Marvel world, gritted their teeth, nervous, and shocked in the 3 major worlds of Pirate, Dragon Ball, and Superman. Just now the whole king didn't stand up to the court of life and slapped him, but now he only shook Sha Shing. The 5 creation gods almost couldn't hold the energy of their bodies, so one can imagine how surprised they were. Sha Shing, is this a compliment to the great Life Tribunal? Tun Xing's tone was very unhappy, and he said violently. But the number 1 in the strength list is really strong. His defensive shield has not even been smashed by the Life Court. I am afraid this is a big battle. Eternal said slowly, and said the main point in one sentence. Your defense cover, round and resistant. The offensive of the Life Tribunal is not as simple as a single palm. The big golden palm attached to Conqueror's Haki has terrifying energy gathering, trying to break through Sha Xing's defensive shield directly. However, under the impact of bright energy, Sha Shing could not be shaken. On the contrary, looking at the golden ripples on the defensive cover, Sha Xing's eyes narrowed, and he showed some strength. The extremely powerful Conqueror's Haki envelopes the body of the entire Life Tribunal. With a loud noise, the Life Tribunal was almost bent by both legs, and was firmly resisting the suppressive force from top to bottom. Wrapped in the golden light curtain, the body kept sinking into the ground under his feet, and the Life Tribunal didn't dare to move at all, for fear that it would be bent if he moved. You're really strong. The Life Court was very surprised, and the same surprise appeared on the 3 faces. Sha Xing's power can affect him, and it is extremely powerful, which is not a little bit behind Quanju. At first, the Life Tribunal thought that Sha Shing, who won the first place, would not be much older than Quan Wang Chang, but it seemed completely wrong. But you can't suppress me. The eyeballs on the 3 faces of the Life Tribunal lit up with mysterious light, and the whole strength began to skyrocket. Taking advantage of this burst of strength, he actually punched Sha Xing's Haki suppression. The strength of the fist, the terrifying cosmic energy rushed towards Chongqing crazily with this punch. Boom. However, the defensive cover that hit Sha Shing 10 meters away only showed ripples. Sha Xing's defense remained motionless. Advertisement. The Life Tribunal was startled secretly. The place in his chest that seemed to be an energy source began to surge out of energy crazily, making his whole body rise again in strength. 1 promotion is not enough. Then 2. The momentum of the soaring Life Tribunal was extremely terrifying, directly overturning the surrounding earth, revealing the deep darkness below. Then, The two fists looked like two stars. Unparalleled terrifying energy erupted, and they punched Sha Shing fiercely. Boom. Stars exploded, energy impacted everywhere, and the battle space trembled. The two fists of the Life Tribunal still stopped 10 meters away from Sha Shing, and they still didn't break through. Give you a chance to shock me once, there will be no second time. Sha Shing raised the corners of his mouth and said lightly. As soon as these words came out, the Life Tribunal was completely overwhelmed. Sha Shing is not only a little bit better than Wang Chang, the life of all things in the universe just now. This is ridiculously strong. The Life Tribunal immediately started the third power-up. The violent palm hit Xia Xing's defensive cover again. At this time, Quan Wang had to admit how terrifying the battle space was. The people watching the battle from the outside, even the King Quan, was completely motionless. Then come again. The fifth time, the sixth time, the speed is getting faster and faster, and the energy is getting stronger and stronger. The Life Tribunal with three faces roared for the fourth time, attack. This level of defense and offense can only be carried out in the super battle space. The five creation gods even trembled with their figurative bodies, completely frozen. The people in the four worlds couldn't bear the terrifying aura that came out, and broke out in cold sweat. Even time and space are almost affected, but fortunately, the mysterious power of Jinbang is constantly repairing everything. The entire battle space is already filled with the berserk cosmic energy of the Life Tribunal. 5.0. Still can't shake it. Not broken. The aftermath is constantly oscillating back and forth, wreaking havoc and destroying everything. Still so. But Xia Xing's defensive cover was glowing with bright golden light, and it remained motionless. When Sha Shing competed with me, he kept his hand. If this is placed in the outside world, a universe will be reduced to nothingness in an instant. Advertisement. Chapter 275. An accident in the Marvel world. The Transcendent appears. Advertisement. Everyone was deeply shocked. Looking at Xia Xing's indestructible and terrifying defense that could not be destroyed by the ever-increasing cosmic energy, their intuition was unbelievable. The Life Tribunal has been upgraded 100 times. Now, this colorful Madara cosmic energy is bursting out all over my body. Let the battle space be distorted. This is 100% strength. Sha Shing. The three faces of the Life Tribunal roared, and the last mirror of the universe pointed at Sha Shing, and Xia Xing's face was copied. The strength of the whole body has changed, and it has changed into an energy that is more suitable for Sha Shing. Then the power belonging to the Life Court in the entire space gathered and rushed towards Sha Shing. Boom. Under the impact of the cosmic torrent, Xia Xing's defensive cover finally trembled, and was shrunk by the impact. Is this the best? I have been waiting for a long time. Sha Shing is a bit boring, and the strongest in the Marvel Almighty Universe is nothing more than that. With this level of strength, even the outside world cannot pose a threat to oneself. Wherever Haki reaches, both time and space recede. 28. With a thought, the Golden Conqueror's Haki surged out. Strictly speaking, Xia Xing's Haki is no longer the Conqueror's Haki of One Piece world, but still retains its characteristics. This is already an infinite force that surpasses the energy of the universe. Wherever the golden light goes, the bombardment of the life court, energy, etc., everything dissipates. The same is like a torrent, covering the court of life, in an impact that is so powerful that it cannot be described. The life court was shattered inch by inch, and even the consciousness was lost directly. The battle space calmed down as Xia Xing's Haki retracted. Life court challenge failed, Sha Shing won. Close black lens bracket. After a short period of silence, apart from the shocked Avengers, Thanos and the five creation gods in the Marvel world were shocked and unbelievable. Watching the huge golden life court regain its stature on the earth. Everyone was stunned and didn't know what to say. Sha Shing, the number one player, had only two moves other than defense, and was defeated in the Life Tribunal. His body completely collapsed. All the pirate marines in One Piece world cheered. White Lion, invincible. Everyone shouted heartily, excited in their hearts. Advertisement. Such an invincible Sha Shing represents that his own world will last forever and will not be swallowed and merged by other worlds. The world of Dragon Ball, the world of One Punch Man, together with Zen Wang, God-tier officer, Beerus, Saitama Hungry Wolf, Aizen Sosuke, etc. who are visiting Pirate World, are all overwhelmed by the power of this battle. The shock is hard to add. Everyone was shocked. Sha Shing is really strong for no reason. Why is his strength exaggerated to such a terrifying level? Now, how can we talk about the world fusion competition? If Sha Shing can make a move, I'm afraid all the worlds will merge one by one. God-tier officer and King Quan looked at each other, and finally said with a sigh. The gap between them and Sha Shing has already been seen. Even now on Earth in the Marvel Universe, the heads of the Tribunal of Life are still turning. He is mobilizing the power of the universe for deduction. Impossible. What is his power? How could there be no clue? Shocked and even a little frightened, the Life Court couldn't see any clues of deduction at all. He really couldn't believe it, because Sha Shing still had the aura of a mortal. This completely broke his cognition. Perhaps only the Great One will know. In the end, the Life Tribunal gave up the deduction and turned to look at the five creation gods. Just when I was about to say something, suddenly, a mutation happened. In the universe, there is a huge and boundless world crack near the Earth. There is no end in sight, and there is an incomparably terrifying void flowing out. This is a loophole. The Life Court was shocked. Wu God Tier Ming and the others were even more shocked watching this scene. There is even a sense of fear floating in my heart. People from the other three worlds also saw this scene. What's this? What happened to that world? The sight of this scene was too terrifying. Even Sha Shing narrowed his eyes. Huang Wang and the God-tier officer looked at the projection over there very seriously. That crack in the world is too big. Advertisement. The earth on the opposite side is like a small grain of sand in front of that incomparable crack. It is entirely conceivable how much visual impact it will have on people in the four worlds. And in this huge crack, after a figure rushed out, it gradually healed. Until everyone reacts. On the earth in the Marvel world, there is an extra person of ordinary height, dressed in white, and with dark blue curly hair standing on top of Thanos' spaceship. The Tribunal of Life, the five creator gods, the Thanos and the Avengers all looked at this man standing on a high place in doubt. Immediately, the Life Court and the gods all felt that the figure was very strong. It seems that there is endless power surging in the body. Who are you? Why did you come out of that crack? Tun Xing was the first to stand up and ask the figure. Me, according to your words, you can call me Transcendence. It seems that they are looking for trouble. The seemingly energyless palm of the Transcendent grabbed death. Sha Shing chuckled, touched his cheek and began to watch the show. Just when everyone was watching and guessing about this Transcendent. The Transcendent indeed suddenly came to the front of the five creation gods in a flash. People in the three worlds watched curiously, not knowing what had changed in the Marvel world. The figure's voice seemed to be adjusting 200, but it also resounded in everyone's ears. Exactly, I'm missing you guys to do a research. Isn't this guy the most powerful and terrifying existence in the Marvel world, surpassing the small body of the Protoss, but it is so powerful that even the Life Tribunal will not be its opponent. The five life forms born in the universe and their manifestations. Tun Xing and the other four gods all moved. But death seemed to be stupid, and was caught in the hands of the Transcendent in a daze. Stop. Transcendence. The Transcendent. But Zhengxing thought for a while, and finally remembered. That's why it rushed out of the world rift. Sha Shing was secretly surprised that even the Transcendent came, and it felt particularly powerful. Sha Shing has no choice but to suspect that he also saw the projection of the gold list and crossed over from the dark universe. Chapter 276 Transcendent. What gold list? Even I can't make it. Advertisement. Where the hell are you from? What do you want to do? Death was pinched in the head by the Transcendent, unable to break free at all. The four-star swallowing gods were even blocked by the flames that the Transcendent waved at will. Quote. I'm just bored. The Transcendent looked crazy, and when he said this, Death's whole body went limp, turning into a cloud of black mist. No, the four swallowing stars were completely taken aback. Death stopped functioning. How can this be? Death is not a real creature, but the embodiment of the rules governing the soul of life. The power of this guy is terrifying. Immediately, the whole world turned and the stars moved. The infinite divine power spread, and the space was replaced. The earth under everyone's feet became a meteorite group in an instant. In the next moment, eternity, annihilation, and swallowing stars attacked the Transcendent. The battle in reality is extremely terrifying. A large number of planets trembled violently with the energy explosion of the three creators, and they left their orbits. Facing the attack of the gods, the Transcendent showed a wicked smile. That's it. Come and play with me. The terrifying unknown energy erupted all over his body, and death was thrown aside, and the Transcendent went directly to the three swallowing stars. The blazing fists that even the gods of creation could not avoid punch one by one. The entire galaxy is trembling, and the planet explodes. Then teleported to the front of infinity, and the palm covered it. In an instant, infinity seemed to be fixed, unable to make a sound or move. It seems that the Transcendent also knows that infinity is the incarnation of the entire universe. If it is accidentally blown up with a punch, the multiverse will be gone. And the five god-tier civilizations were easily defeated, leaving people in the Marvel world stunned. Have no idea what the hell is going on here. Advertisement. A person appeared, and while talking about being boring, he beat the creator gods to the ground. Your existence is unknown, but it has already affected the universe. At this time, the Life Court finally moved. He is the spokesperson of the Supreme OAA. The Transcendent's unreasonable attack on the universe god has already affected the balance of reality, and there are enough reasons to sanction him. The Life Tribunal's body, which was originally about 1,000 meters high, kept getting taller, and its shape continued to change day by day. The cosmic mirror behind the three faces faces the Transcendent, but nothing is reflected. Except the punishment. Since it couldn't be detected, the Life Tribunal planned to subdue it directly. The meteorite was considered a small stone in comparison with the huge two hands. Suddenly, he grabbed the Transcendent. Big guy, it seems that I can break it down and study it. The Transcendent chuckled, and punched the captured hand with a fist. Boom. The energy of the colorful Madara spread instantly, annihilating the surrounding meteorites, and the palm of the Life Tribunal also stopped. The super strong energy impact made the entire galaxy and even the multiverse tremble. However, the Transcendent who turned to aim at the Life Tribunal did not stop there. A powerful energy erupted from his body, turning into a pillar of fire, and shot directly at the chest of the Life Tribunal. Immediately, upon contact, a terrifying explosion erupted instantly. When the Life Court was shot again, it was already pierced, and it was not until the big explosion that the three faces showed horror. The terrifying attack actually penetrated this universe and exploded in another universe at the same time. Then, a scene that stunned the other three worlds appeared. The universe is collapsing. The scene presented in the universe can be seen in the projection. Countless galaxies lost their original orbits, and stars exploded. In the dreamlike scenes, there is endless destruction brought about by star explosions. Even the god-tier officers and gods of destruction were stunned. What kind of battle is this? A universe will disappear like this. And the universe where the battle is located is also under the destructive power, although most of the power is not here, but the violent energy also caused the destruction of countless galaxies, and black holes appeared. Accidentally, I used a little force. The Transcendent suddenly appeared next to the head of the Life Tribunal, and with a fistful of hazy flames, he slammed down on the side of the cosmic mirror. Our advertisement. Another punch after another, until the energy of the Life Tribunal was dissipated, and he couldn't move and floated before stopping. And this attack, which used such a large amount of energy, directly annihilated hundreds of multiverses. Horror has arrived ultimate. The people in the three worlds, except Quan Wong and Sha Shing, almost all of them already looked dull, even a little trembling. Nima, what is this? Just blow up the universe. Look at the people in that world, those who are not dead or almost dead. You still look at people, you look at the boundless universe, and those planets, all are gone. The world of pirates, the world of Dragon Ball, and the world of Superman crashed, and various voices came out, all of which were extremely shocking. This Transcendent is too terrifying pervert, exaggerating to the point of ultimate. Aizen Sosuke, Yuhabak, who are on the double list, can't help but make up their minds that they will never go to that world when they travel through the world. It's too scary. If I'm involved in this kind of cosmic collapse, I'm afraid I won't even know how to die. And if you encounter such an exaggerated strongman, you will be finished. The Transcendent himself was not surprised by this scene, but admired it for a while. Looking at the floating court of life, he suddenly felt very bored. This level of cosmic energy is not enough for him. That gold list. The Transcendent stepped on the huge body of the life court, and then looked at the gold list in the sky, but found that his name was not on it. What gold list? Even I can't make it. Wong Li's. I glanced in my heart but didn't find my name, and at the same time I was upset. I launched an attack on the gold list in the sky. An ever-increasing multicolored energy shock wave erupted from the Transcendent body, and shot towards the gold list hanging in the sky. People in the three worlds were taken aback. This Transcendent will blow up the universe at every turn, so he can't really shake the gold list. However, they are all overwhelmed, and only Sha Shing knows that it is futile to surpass. How miraculous is the golden list, that is, the system, that can lead the integration of so many big worlds. Sure enough, the energy shock that could shatter the multiverse directly penetrated the gold list, and there was no reaction at all. It was as if it didn't exist, but this energy passed through, once again surpassed the boundary wall of the universe, and blew up another multiverse. Unable to attack, the Transcendent was amazed, with a serious face and narrowed eyes. Chapter 277. Sha Shing was repelled for the first time. Advertisement. What a gold list. The most powerful list. Seeing that he couldn't attack at all, the Transcendent relaxed and looked at the names on the gold list. It is amazing to be able to recognize who this person is on the world projection when you concentrate. As for the people in the other three worlds, they were relieved when they saw that the Jinbang would not be affected by the Transcendent at all. After all, Quan Wong and others are still in the pirate world, who knows what unpredictable consequences Lu Ran will have if he shakes them. Sha Shing was also secretly amazed and curious. The Transcendent's Protoss in the Marvel world is really strong, and even this existence like the Life Tribunal can easily be crushed. As I remember, these guys are beyond the domain, and it seems true that they can easily collapse the multiverse. Although Sha Shing, a salted fish, has seen Marvel, his memory is a little fuzzy. Just as he was thinking about it, the battle information of Jinbang appeared in his mind. The challenge of the Transcendent, do you accept it? Sha Shing looked up in surprise at the Transcendent who was looking at him in the projection. Can't hold back to challenge the gold list so soon. The most powerful list is the first, which is worthy of my fun. Transcendent's voice came over, with a playful smile. Immediately, people from the four worlds 513 were startled and looked at Sha Shing one after another. This unknown Transcendent challenged Sha Shing. Sha Shing himself was also curious about the Transcendent, and also accepted the challenge. It's nothing to fight this guy in a special space. The Transcendent challenges Sha Shing and enters the battle time. Close black lens bracket. Looking at the information on the gold list, everyone became nervous. Obviously, the number one Sha Shing had already accepted the challenge. At the banquet on White Lion Island, King Quan, God-tier officer, Beerus, Chi Yu and other people who passed by all looked at Sha Shing in surprise. People like Whitebeard, Newgate, and Garp became even more unconfident and worried. It is really terrifying that the Transcendent crushed the Tribunal of Life and the 5 creation gods and shattered countless universes just now. Beishi, are you really fighting with this unknown guy? Shiki couldn't help but said it, but also knew that this kind of challenge couldn't be stopped. Advertisement. He was a little afraid that Sha Xing's myth would be terminated. Shut up, Shiki, Sha Shing, I won't lose. Whitebeard Newgate roared, very dissatisfied with Shiki's performance. When did Sha Shing let them down? And he started to doubt it. Fine. Sha Shing stood up on a rare occasion, patted Shiki on the shoulder, and was then teleported into the battle space in the white light. Now that he has challenged, Sha Shing also wants to meet this Transcendent, to see how his strength can affect him. Even the people in the pirate world are worried, and everyone in the Marvel world thinks that the Transcendent will definitely win, ranking third. After all, this Transcendent is really powerful and exaggerated, how can Sha Shing block it? Under everyone's attention, both Transcendents and Sha Shing entered the Super Challenge space at the same time. It seems to know that the fighting power of the two is extremely strong at this time. The battle space formed by Jinbang at this time is also different from before. The entire battle scene has become a barren asteroid. There is an endless starry sky all around, and stars are even more visible burning hotly in the distance. This kind of picture is like a corner of the universe. After the space fluctuation, Sha Shing and Transcendent appeared on a planet respectively. My energy. As soon as the Transcendent came in, he looked surprised and looked at his hands. The balanced power of the dimensional power system in the battle space has already acted on the Transcendent body invisibly. Suppressed. It seems that the background of the gold list is much higher than that of the multiverse, and the omnipotent universe can't do beyond the domain, right? This made the Transcendent think for a while. The magic of the gold list somewhat surpassed his cognition. At this time, Sha Shing was not in a hurry, and quietly looked at the Transcendent on the opposite asteroid with his arms folded. When the Transcendent CICG raised his head, he slapped his hand casually, and the terrifying energy in his body exploded, forming a beam of light and attacking the real star. Boom! The Conqueror's Haki defense shield that Sha Shing had set up in front of him was hit by the light beam and exploded under the shining golden light. When the light beam was exhausted, Haki's defensive cover was also broken, and Sha Shing even took a step back. Advertisement. The people watching the battle in One Piece World, Dragon Ball World and One Punch Man Dimension World all involuntarily showed horrified expressions. Sha Shing was repelled. This is the first time Sha Shing has been shaken. Maybe, the first place will really change hands this time. Everyone couldn't help exclaiming in horror, and some even speculated that Sha Shing might lose this time. After all, Sha Shing had seen all of Sha Xing's defensive shields before. At that time, the Life Tribunal exerted all its strength and failed to break the shake, but the Transcendent broke it with a single blow and made the fortune teller take a step back. There was nothing strange about Sha Shing. This Transcendent was much stronger than the Life Tribunal, and the defensive shields he set up were only randomly arranged. The Transcendent also watched in amazement. His energy shock only broke his defensive cover. Facing such a terrifying Conqueror's Haki, the Transcendent narrowed his eyes, thinking that this form of ability could be easily blocked by himself. Be it the planets along the way or the deep darkness, they were all annihilated, leaving golden cracks behind. The planetary group in the battle space is instantly annihilated, leaving behind the blood-spitting Transcendent and dense space cracks. He even wanted to put on a handsome pose to block the attention of the four worlds. The Transcendent suffered an unimaginably serious injury on the spot. He who had never vomited blood, unexpectedly sprayed out biological blood mixed with original energy and the flow of his body. Body, soul, and all energies are powerless when Haki hits, and it's too late to resist. Sha Xing's strength exceeded his expectation. These represent the original power of the pirate world, and exert unimaginable terrifying power in Sha Xing's Haki. However, when Sha Xing's terrifying Conqueror's Haki covered and impacted on the Transcendor's complexion changed drastically. It's really strong. It seems that I can't hide my clumsiness. I have to show some strength. The endless Haki on Sha Xing's body exploded, covered it and went away. Sha Shing looked at the Transcendent with a playful face, and suddenly looked at this guy not very pleasing to the eye. But in the perspective of the crowd watching the battle, the bright golden light dyed the planetary group, and all Sha Xing's abilities fluctuated on it. Shock ability, freezing ability, burning ability. The eyes are fixed, and the royal look of the whole body Haki surges out. Even a little terrified, like a light curtain, rushing towards the Transcendent madly. Chapter 278. This is the battle of the real strongest. Advertisement. Impossible. The Transcendent stood up in disbelief, and wiped the blood from his 7 orifices. Beyond the Protoss, it turns out that the blood on the body is similar to that of humans. Why is Sha Xing's attack so strong? The people in the Marvel world were completely shocked. The Life Tribunal is still floating motionless in the darkness of the universe. Even the monitors of the omnipotent universe can't stop the attack of the Transcendent. Now the Transcendent was easily and severely injured by Sha Shing, who was number 1 on the gold list. This is impossible. This Sha Shing. This. People in the Marvel world were shocked and incoherent. There is no doubt that Sha Shing is an existence that absolutely stands at the top of the universe. It was also the first time people in Pirate World, Dragon Ball World, and Superman World saw Sha Shing use such a powerful attack. This is the number 1 in the strongest strength list. Everyone's jaws dropped in shock. A golden light curtain flashed, and a group of asteroids disappeared and annihilated directly. The Transcendents who destroyed the universe like the player was severely injured by the impact and vomited blood. Everyone on Beishi Island finally breathed a sigh of relief. Judging from the battle situation just now, Sha Shing is still stronger. The Transcendent just broke through Sha Xing's defensive shield and repelled Sha Shing by a step. And Sha Shing seriously injured the Transcendent directly. Gu la la la, Shiki, see. Whitebeard and Newgate still glared at Golden Lion Shiki with a brooding look on his face. I was wrong. You don't need to worry about Sha Shing if you worry about anyone. Golden Lion Shiki smiled sarcastically, a little embarrassed. But the Quan Wong, God-tier officer, Saitama and others on the seat are still looking at the battle space seriously. The injury seems to be recovering quickly. God-tier officer looked a little solemn. Although Sha Shing severely injured the Transcendor with one blow, the Transcendor was obviously not a good stubble. His body is recovering quickly. Immediately, everyone on White Lion Island looked over, being injured by Sha Xing's haki, which itself is very difficult to recover. Good recovery. Advertisement. Sha Shing still folded his arms and looked at the Transcendent calmly. The Conqueror's haki impact that uses its own ability will leave power in the body. But now there is a trace of white smoke on the body of the Transcendent, the body drives away those haki, and stands up again. I really didn't expect you to be able to do this. For a short time, the Transcendent floated and stood up again as if nothing happened. But he didn't dare to neglect any more, he knew that the person opposite was very strong. As soon as the energy under his feet erupted, the Transcendent became serious, and he no longer underestimated Sha Shing, and he punched him violently with his fist. Destroying God Fist. This move is obviously a move beyond the Protoss. A purple dreamy halo radiates from the hands of the Transcendent. This terrifying energy even distorts the special space. Facing such a berserk fist of destruction, Sha Shing condensed the fist of Conqueror's haki. There are various fluctuations of abilities flowing on the golden haki, all the power and influence are gathered together, fiercely shaking with the fist of the Transcendent. The moment they collided, it was as if a black hole had been punched out, and all the energy was absorbed into it, and then the entire space collapsed. And the confrontation between Sha Shing and the Transcendor was evenly matched, and the explosive power continued to destroy the entire space through the terrifying black hole in the middle. The gold list also emitted a hazy colorful light, and the entire battle space was restored, and it was upgraded into a complete universe again. This is to use a universe to fight for two people. Snort. Come again. The Transcendent did not expect that such a move would not be able to hit Sha Shing, and the golden fist was also very strong. The next moment, the Transcendent erupted into a purple halo covering the entire galaxy, and continued to punch Sha Shing with one punch after another. Sha Shing also confronted the Transcendent with Conqueror's Haki's fist. After the upgrade, the singularity no longer appears in the battle space, but the power and influence exuded by the two is too terrifying. Even the reenacted universe is still in the confrontation between the two, one after another the galaxies are destroyed, with Sha Shing fighting with the Transcendent as the center, it is all a deep darkness. The battle of these two. In the world of One Punch Man, no one knows how to describe it anymore. Those who live on the Earth feel that the monster disaster is nothing. Look at the current battle, destroying one galaxy after another at every turn. This is just the aftermath of the fist clash between the two. Rot. In the world of Dragon Ball, even the gods and priests are already in a cold sweat. Advertisement. If it were my own world, the two universes would have already vanished into nothingness. In the world of thieves, everyone was quiet, and they couldn't be more shocked by the current shaking scene. Everyone, and only the king on the banquet table, god-tier officials and others can keep calm and watch this peak duel. Where is the limit of Sha Xing's strength? Saitama's whole body trembled a little, and his blood was boiling. He also wanted to fight this kind of battle, but the current self might not even have ashes left. Hateful. Countless punches passed, and the Transcendent found that Sha Shing still had indifferent eyes, and even his body posture did not change. All the punches were aimed at the fist that attacked him. This annoyed the Transcendent who had been playing the almighty universe, and couldn't bear it any longer. Break. The Transcendent wants to blow up the page star with one punch. Boom. But still the Conqueror's Haki fist went forward, but the power condensed in this fist was even stronger. The eyes of the Transcendent are also lit up with white light, bursting out with full power. But this time, it was no longer evenly matched. When the Transcendent roared, the powerful fist actually broke through Sha Xing's Conqueror's Haki fist. Gold and purple collide, resisting his full strength in the front with a punch, he only retreated a little bit. Small. The Transcendent was startled, and looked at the unscathed Sha Shing in disbelief. Sha Shing also clearly felt the terrifying power of the Transcendent's punch. The fist that has not yet been swung has caused the condensed energy to create a slight space crack. The purple punch also hit Sha Xing's body, shaking Sha Shing and driving him back more than 10 meters. Another white thunder spread all over the starry sky, and the space rippled and oscillated. It seems that I really can't hold back against you, and I've got some ink. The berserk energy began to be completely released, and even the lines of releasing full force appeared on his body. This punch, you try again. Sha Shing sighed, stabilized his figure, and dispersed the aftermath with a wave of his hand. Chapter 279 Sha Xing's strongest form appears. Advertisement. If you beat you really can't keep your whole cards. At this moment, Sha Shing exuded an aura that made the Transcendent feel dangerous. Immediately, the Transcendent did not continue to attack, but drew back from the distance. This guy, what's going on? Why do you feel extremely dangerous? The Transcendent has a dignified look on his face, his body is already fully powered. Then use the strongest move. I made up my mind to pay attention. The Transcender stepped forward, he wanted to open a long distance, and stored his strength to launch the strongest blow. All this is but in an instant. Sha Shing watched the Transcendent go away, but he didn't stop him, but a smile appeared on his face. There are not many strong players who can make use of their own strength, and the one who surpasses is counted as one. Sha Shing raised his left hand, and a terrifying sun appeared. In the battle space of 687, in this cosmic environment, the burning stars are constantly growing bigger and bigger beside Sha Shing, becoming the same as real stars. The terrifying solar wind is constantly sweeping, and the surrounding temperature instantly rises to ultimate. This is one of the strongest abilities Sha Shing has acquired, Logia, the star species. Sun. Lifting the other hand again, the space began to fluctuate, and a small black spot appeared, and it continued to expand and swallow all the surrounding matter. This is another ability of the Logia star species. Black hole. And not only that, while Sha Shing was using his ability, new changes have also begun to appear on my body. This is the Phantom Beast, the ability of the Shira body. The black energy of purgatory began to flow out of Sha Xing's body, circulating like life. The Conqueror's Haki changed its essence, becoming larger and larger, and then turned into a three-headed and six-armed Shira image, with a golden body, but entangled with the black energy of purgatory. And the huge body is even bigger than the sun, stars and black holes, comparable to a galaxy. Sha Xing's body is like a cell in it. This terrifying scene completely shocked everyone watching the battle. Advertisement. Sha Shing in this form is more like a god than any god. Majestic, holy, and has a frightening purgatory atmosphere, contradicting each other without any sense of disobedience. This is the real god. The people in Valkyrie world murmured and said in a somewhat confused way. Gods like Zeus, Odin, and Shiva were beating wildly in their hearts, and couldn't help but want to kneel down and worship them. He is the real god. Even Zeus, who has lived for countless years, couldn't bring himself to compare, and said in shock. The Marvel world, the gods of the Dragon Ball world are even more so. Whether it is the creation gods of the universe in various latitudes, or the king gods and gods of destruction in the Dragon Ball world. Looking at Sha Xing's current form, confusion flashed across his eyes. I wonder if we are all false gods, that one is the real god. Yeah, what a fascinating breath. Powerful, destructive, terrifying, yet holy and majestic. The Shendu of each world couldn't help sighing in shock. This is the true strength of the White Lion. On Beishi Island, in front of the banquet table, the pirate marine and his party all swallowed their throats. This transcendence, he is not enough to watch, right? It's really powerful, White Lion. I'm afraid no one can escape such a blow, right? That transcendent opened up such a long distance, does he want to deliver the strongest blow? Whitebeard, Newgate and Garp and others discussed it instead. This made the sluggish god-tier officer and the bewildered Quan Wong, Beerus, Saitama and others admire the nerve of this group of people. Sha Shing is not only powerful now, he is simply exaggerated, terrifying and powerful to an unimaginable level. Even the god-tier officials thought that Sha Shing in this state might have enough power to open another realm. And in the combat space, the Transcendent who opened up a long distance and began to crazily prepare for the strongest blow also saw this scene, and even more clearly sensed Sha Xing's terrifying aura that broke through his cognition. No matter how powerful it is, I'm not afraid. As long as I have enough energy, I can unleash a blow beyond the domain. The Transcendent crazily devoured the surrounding energy toward himself, and the lines all over his body began to glow with a deep purple light. Just when it was about to be completed, Sha Shing had already unfolded his strongest form, and the huge Shira body carried the sun and the black hole, and penetrated the space with one step. Advertisement. Appeared in front of the Transcendent in an instant. The power of devouring and the solar wind instantly permeated the surroundings, making the look of the Transcendent even uglier. But this time, he has already completed his reserves. My punch will hit you like the entire Transcendence realm. The Transcendent knew that Sha Shing had become much stronger, but he did not flinch. Instead, with a grim face, he took the lead in attacking Sha Shing. The deep purple halo broke through the solar wind and the power of the black hole all around him, and he punched Sha Shing. Such a punch moved everyone watching the battle. This is definitely the most powerful attack since the gold list. However, the next moment, they saw what a more powerful attack was. Before the fist of the Transcendent's strongest blow came in, Sha Shing waved his palm. The palm in the three-headed and six-armed body was bigger than a star, and it slapped towards the Transcendent's fist. In an instant, the Transcendent was at a loss, and the strongest blow was wiped out immediately, and all the energy disappeared without a trace under Sha Xing's palm. The next moment, it was more like an impenetrable wall crashing into it. The huge power far surpassed the cognition of the Transcendent, and he was directly shot out, and even spit out blood energy continuously during the inverted flight, directly seriously injured. What level of power is this? The Transcendent was full of shock and panic, and his figure could not fly upside down stably. This is not just as simple as surpassing cognition, the Transcendent feels that he will really be shot 5.0 to death by Sha Shing in this state. Now that he has used this kind of power, Zhengxing will naturally not beat more. With one step, he stepped directly in front of the Transcendent amidst the fluctuations in space. Another punch. The huge crack was directly blasted out, the Transcender's arm was broken, and he was immediately hit and flew in another direction. But it wasn't over yet, Sha Xing's attacks landed on him again, and more, faster and faster. Sha Shing was also adapting to such a huge form. The Transcendent is like a small stone, constantly being hit in all directions, from the arms, thighs, body, the whole body is blown apart, and the bones are shattered in the body. It's very strenuous, don't play anymore. Sha Shing moved his finger, and the Transcendent was instantly fixed in place. Then, the big golden palm fell down. Chapter 280 The Oa appears. Advertisement. A body that can almost rival galaxies, how terrifying and huge it is. Even if it is a palm comparison, the Transcendent is smaller than a sesame seed. The power contained in it is beyond everyone's understanding. It is no exaggeration to say that in this form in the outside world, Sha Shing may be able to open a passage to another dimensional world with one palm. The current Transcendent can best understand this kind of horror. Because Sha Xing's sheer palm had already fallen towards him. No, the Transcendent frantically broke free from Sha Xing's solidified space, even though his whole body was broken, he burst out with all his strength, desperately wanting to resist the overwhelming pressure on his palm. Beyond God Fist, the Transcendent knows that no matter which way he flees, it will be the end, so he tries his best to explode. But his energy capable of shattering the multiverse hit Sha Xing's palm like a rock sinking into the sea, and no waves splashed at the sun point. The palm of the hand is constantly enlarged in front of the Transcendent, until it is full of flowing golden light and black air. With a touch, the Transcendent's body finally couldn't bear 28, and it was turned into fragments in Sha Xing's palm, and the fragments turned into ashes, until nothingness. Click. Not only the Transcendent, but also the battle space of the entire cosmic environment was shattered into dense cracks, repeating between collapse and restoration. The galaxies produced by Jinbang are all wiped out. The golden halo spread out under the huge palm, seemingly slow but at the speed of light. It's really too exaggerated. The Life Tribunal, who did not know when he regained consciousness, couldn't help but speak humanely. He could no longer judge how powerful Sha Shing was in this form, who could easily crush a Transcendent. Perhaps only the Supreme Existence can truly know what level Sha Xing's power is. Death also returned to his original human form, standing with the four-star swallowing gods who were also shocked and terrified. At this time, the Transcendent who was photographed as nothingness slowly recovered not far from the five people, and after a while, he condensed into a figure. But the Transcendent is still caught in the extreme fear of being destroyed at this time, staring blankly, his eyes are lax. One Piece World, White Lion Alliance and Marines all raised their arms and shouted. It's hard to describe the excitement in their hearts at this time, that is, they are calling for the King of Sound. The Transcendent failed the challenge, Sha Shing won. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Jinbang announced the result, and Sha Shing also returned to normal form in the battle space. Go back and eat something. Stretching, Sha Shing turned around and was teleported out. Everyone, including the Life Tribunal, be it gods, humans, or even the weirdos in the Superman world, all looked at Sha Shing with great respect in their eyes. This is the strong man, the strongest existence that truly stands in multiple big worlds. I don't know how many big worlds there are. I just know that Sha Shing is the strongest one. Countless people are thinking this way in their hearts. The sun on the left, the black hole on the right, 3 heads and 6 arms, and the form of a god with a body like a galaxy is completely imprinted in everyone's heart. Bravo. You still have a big hand for me. At this time, King Quan showed a humane tone, and said to Sha Shing who appeared in front of him. It is very strong. Sha Shing smiled, just like before. Yes, he himself thought it was good and strong. Old acquaintances such as Whitebeard Newgate and Golden Lion Shiki laughed. He laughed very happily, not only because he was happy with such a powerful and terrifying existence beside him. Undoubtedly, with Sha Xing's help, his own world will not be swallowed up and merged, but more people from other worlds will be merged in. Moreover, Sha Shing was still the same as before, he did not despise life as the strongest and practiced tyranny alone. The god-tier officer and others all showed smiles, and Saitama looked incomparably fanatical, only Quanju was a little frustrated. Ah Quan, don't look like this, I am not your opponent in your world. Sha Shing gulped down a glass of wine, knowing that King Quan had a childish temper, so he said it out loud. It seems to be. Quan Wang regained his smile after Sha Shing said this. As for world fusion and so on, Sha Shing can't play, you'll only know after the fight. Sha Shing laughed, and after such a phone call, he felt more comfortable and happy. It was also in the terrifying battle with the Transcendent that everyone in the four worlds truly saw Sha Xing's strength after he took action. It is definitely a universe-level existence that can be destroyed with one hand. This level of combat power makes the Superman world, the Pirate world, and the fused Hokage world, Valkyrie world, Shinigami world, etc. respect and fear. Advertisement. He also fully understood the gap with Sha Shing. Especially the ambitious gods of Valkyrie world can no longer afford to rebel. Hit. If you practice a few more 10,000 years, you won't be able to keep up with Sha Xing's one finger. At this moment, once again, changes have occurred in the Marvel universe. The Transcendent came to his senses and looked in one direction solemnly. The surrounding environment has returned to the Earth again. The Golden Titan that was shattered, the Life Tribunal also returned to its original form, and all injuries were recovered. These changes have once again attracted the attention of everyone in the three worlds. What the hell is going to happen in this world? At this time, the Life Tribunal suddenly knelt down on the ground, bowing respectfully towards the sky. You, the Most High, have come in person. The performance of the Life Court, 180, made people in the three worlds curious. Sha Shing seemed to remember something. The people in the Marvel world and the 5 creation gods even saw an old man appearing in the sky with a dazed look on their faces. Yes, an old man with a western face and a white beard appeared. OAA, the highest being in the Marvel universe. Sha Shing grinned, this guy is like an old man who draws marble. I've seen it a long time ago, I just came to see something now. Oa smiled kindly, and lifted up the Life Court from the air. But the Life Tribunal did not dare to slack off in the slightest, and if this person was annoyed, then everything would cease to exist. Who are you? The Transcendor had a gloomy expression at this moment. He was just feeling bad after being abused by Sha Shing just now. Now seeing that the Life Tribunal treats this old man so respectfully, while being surprised in his heart, he also wants to find an opponent to discourage him. Beyond the Protoss, it's not bad, it's still a juvenile, but it's very healthy. The old man really didn't pay attention to the words of the Transcendent, but looked at a pet instead. Old man, I want to challenge you. What he said surprised the Transcendent, but this kind of attitude made the Transcendent unable to bear it, and the manic burst out of power directly launched an attack. Chapter 281 fully opened the special training space. Advertisement. People in the three worlds were all surprised to look at the Marvel world. The ensuing changes were really unexpected. An old man who made the life court bow down appeared, and then the Transcendent started to move. But this time, the Transcendent who exploded with infinite energy attacked, but was lightly tapped by the old man's finger. All energy is gone. How is this going? The Transcendent turned pale with fright, watching the old man in front of him back again and again. People in the Marvel world were even more in an uproar. Everyone is confused. What happened just now? The ability of the Transcendent can be said to be destructive, destroying the universe easily, and this old man will be gone with a single finger. It's not okay for children to like to fight. The old man smiled, then raised his head to look at the two gold lists that appeared high in the sky. His eyes revealed his thoughts. The existence of Jinbang is too mysterious, even the supreme existence in the Marvel world cannot be seen through. But at this time, the Transcendent who felt ashamed and angry made a fierce face, and attacked the old man OAA again. The purple Transcendent energy exudes an incomparably powerful destructive power, but what is strange is that such a violent power did not destroy the surrounding environment. The Transcender was in anger, and he didn't notice it, but went forward and used the Transcendent's fist without hesitation. In the astonished gaze of everyone, the old man didn't even look at the Transcendent who came almost instantly, raised his finger and hit the Transcendent's fist first. All the strength and power of the Transcendent disappeared, his body stopped, his eyes widened, and he was at a loss. His strength began to disappear, as if he had been deprived of it, and then he lay down on the ground without strength, with a terrified expression. A Sha Shing abused himself just now, and now there is an unknown old man who can directly make his power disappear. This is simply unbelievable. You're too bold to go above and beyond. The Great Master is the real almighty existence who created all the universe, all the reality. You are also a creature of this dimensional world, created by the Master. Quote. Looking at the tragic situation of the Transcendent, the Life Tribunal said with disdain. For a moment, everyone in the Marvel world, including the gods of the universe, looked at the old man OAA in shock. He is the real creator god. It's no wonder. There really is such a great existence in our world, no wonder the Transcendent was knocked down by one finger. Advertisement. All the people in the Marvel world were talking about it, and their hearts were extremely shocked. The people in the three worlds were not as shocked as the people in the Marvel world, and even seeing the stronger ones appear, they were surprised and worried at the same time. This old man can easily defeat the Transcendent, and I'm afraid he can compete with Sha Shing. Since it's out, such an existence shouldn't miss the chance to challenge for the list, right? Every world is either the creator god or the supreme ruler. This makes us weak people how to live, staring to death with just one look. Whatever, I want to see who is better between this old man and the invincible Sha Shing. One after another, strong players appeared on the stage, and until now, people in the three worlds have discussed each other. In the complicated discussions, most people were focusing on the relationship between the old man and Sha Shing at this time. Both of them are powerful men who can easily defeat the terror of the Transcender. If they continue to fight, it will be another terrifying battle, right? At this time, the Transcendent can be regarded as having lost all the face of the transcending Protoss, and climbed up with an ugly face. Since you are an omnipotent existence, then go and defeat that number one. The Transcendent chuckled, provoking the old man in front of him. Maybe this old man can really defeat Sha Shing. OAA smiled, looked carefully at the gold list in the sky, and turned to look at Sha Shing in the projection after hearing the slightly sarcastic voice of the Transcendent. He even nodded kindly with Sha Shing. Marvel World, Pirate World, Dragon Ball World and One Punch Man World all looked at OAA with anticipation. Looks like it will be a real challenge. Challenge this magical gold list. Not much interest, and I don't like being beaten. The old man looked at it for a long time, and finally he looked down at the Transcendent and said. What do you mean? The Transcendent looked stunned. How could this old man speak in a cloud of fog? What does it mean not to like being beaten? In that challenge space, I will not be his opponent. So, I'm not going in there to get a shot, I've just got my hair done. The old man shook his head, stroked his white hair, and directly admitted that he couldn't beat it. Advertisement. What? The life court couldn't help but lose its voice. Even the great existence entering the battle space is not Sha Xing's opponent. The Transcendent's face was dark, and he was also surprised by the old man's answer. But when he thought of being hammered by Sha Shing just now, it seemed that he was not sure. OAA bluntly said that he would not be Sha Xing's opponent, which immediately caused an uproar in the three worlds. The old man with silvery hair and beard, but one finger sanctioned the existence of the Transcendent, and it was still in reality. This surprised everyone. Sha Shing was also a little surprised. Did this Marvel old man see something? Ethereal voices and subtitles light up. The God-tier officer stood behind Quan Wong and said thoughtfully. It's normal not to fight, but I didn't expect this old man to admit so straightforwardly that he is not a true star opponent. I'm curious, what would our oceans look like if so many universes merged in? Huang Wang also said at the beginning that he would not be Sha Xing's opponent when he entered the special space. Quote. Is he fighting? Everyone on Beishi Island also heard the conversation between the old man and the Transcendent. In fact, most of them still wanted to see Sha Shing fight this supreme being. It has to be said that this old man's status in Marvel is like a king. This scene is so similar, Li to Hao. Those of them who look down on their own universe can all feel what the outcome of their battle with Sha Shing will be. Whitebeard Newgate also understood the existence of the universe, and turned his head to look at Sha Shing at this time. Would you like to ask about the gold list? However, at this time, the gold list began to change. Entering a new stage, in order to compete more excitingly, we will develop a special training space for all worlds. Close black lens bracket. After all, in the end, it is necessary to conduct a world fusion competition, so that the world will be swallowed and fused. It's hard to say. At this point, everyone also understands that the battle with the newly emerged world has come to an end, and it will still be time to challenge for the gold list and strengthen their strength. After being reminded like this, Sha Shing also became curious. In his own universe, he is an invincible existence. Chapter 282, Sha Shing has been targeted again. Advertisement. This special practice space will last for 3 months, and everyone can apply to enter without any restrictions. Close black lens bracket. Remarks. This special training space will not allow the first real star in the double list to enter. Close black lens bracket. When the voice came, everyone breathed heavily, and they were pleasantly surprised. The magical gold list actually has a special training space open. Don't think about it. The cultivation space created by such a mysterious and powerful gold list will definitely not be bad. And everyone can enter. There is no limit. All of a sudden, the 4 worlds boiled. It's just that the note at the end of the gold list lit up, and Sha Shing paused while eating the pineapple pie, and his expression was startled. System, isn't it? It doesn't let me into play. Sha Shing was a little dumbfounded. The World Fusion Tournament forbids me to participate in the competition. After all, I am almost invincible in it. I don't allow myself to enter the cultivation space. Although I don't practice, there must be fun functions to play. Other people on Beishi Island and even the 4 worlds have noticed the last message displayed by Jinbang. Sha Shing, you are banned from entering the special training space. This is too amazing. Is this the gold list that people think that the first place does not need to be cultivated? It seems that's what it means. Most of the 690 people in the 3 worlds had strange expressions, chatting with the people next to them. This hand of the gold list made everyone unexpected. White Lion, this, Garp, Newgate, Shiki and others were also stunned, and looked back at Sha Shing with a dull expression. God-tier officer, Beerus, as for these guys can't help but snicker. Not only are you banned from participating, but you are also left behind in your cultivation. Advertisement. Huang Wang looked amused, and handed over a pineapple pie. It's okay, no problem. It's just that I can't go into play, but everyone should work hard. Hugh, you will be the first to fight me when the time comes. Sha Shing took it, and then laughed out loud. He actually didn't care if he could go into practice, he just didn't bother to go if he could. On the other hand, Hugh's bald head smiled exaggeratedly across the banquet table, and Sha Shing immediately covered his mouth when he named her. Hey, isn't it because you are too strong, the strength recognized by the gold list? Bald Saitama gave a thumbs up and said sincerely. Follow me, why don't you quickly look at the training space of Jinbang? CICC, for 3 months, 1 more point of staying outside, but 1 less time. In other words, the training space of Jinbang will definitely not be bad. Quote. Sha Shing got up leisurely and spoke out to remind everyone. The people on Beishi Island realized that they were patronizing Sha Shing. When everyone looked back at the world projection, they realized that the other 3 had all disappeared in place with a flash of white light. There is also a cultivation space with cosmic environment in the sky, and there are countless huge planets on it. Each planet is like an independent space, and those who apply to enter 1 person and 1 planet. What a spectacle! Whitebeard and Newgate looked at the pictures in shock. It should be said that everyone in One Piece world looked at this scene and began to apply for the gold list in their hearts. It was teleported in within half a minute, and one planet after another was lit up, indicating that someone was already practicing inside. After 3 months, everyone's level will be improved. Sha Shing looked at it with a smile, and Chiyu and others beside him also said hello and went in. I'm going into play too, bye. The last Quan Wang and the god-tier officials all disappeared in place, and only Sha Shing was left sitting slumped on the banquet table, a little helpless. The friends were all called away by the gold list, so go back and play games. There are so many powerful people in the 4 worlds, not to mention the infinite universe. However, most people have self-knowledge and have not entered the special cultivation space. Advertisement. Uzumaki Naruto, Sasuke, and Jeffries have long wanted to have a chance to become stronger, and now they are actively applying to enter the training space. The universe formed by Jinbang is like a real multiverse, there are no other stars, only the same planets are scattered all over, and as people enter, one after another is lit up. Entering the planet, the environment is similar to that of the Earth. Everyone who enters to practice can feel that the planet is filled with the energy that he needs to cultivate, too rich to the ultimate. And you can also adjust the gravity by yourself, the highest effect can reach 10,000 times. Under this special gravitational force, as long as you persist for longer, the body will be transformed by energy, and the speed of breaking through the realm will be faster. The premise is that you can eat it. Whitebeard Newgate, Aizen Sosuke, Yhwach, Uchiha Madara, Kurosaki Ichigo and other pirates, Hokage, and people from the Shinigami world slowly rise from the initial 10 times, and the strongest people have already started when they reach 100 times. I can't stand it anymore. Kaioshin's levels are similar to those of Whitebeard, Newgate and others. The 5 creation gods finally reached 1,000 times. Fortunately, these are all controlled by the mind after entering. This is different from the gravity of their normal cultivation, it is not a concept at all. The old man OAA did not go into the training space, but stood in midair and observed. Sun Wukong, Vegeta, Brawly, Frieza, Jiren and other 12 masters from the universe, after entering, even more desperately raised, with an average of more than 300 times. The strongest is the Dragon Ball world with the most top strength. That is to say, among the countless planets in this cultivation space, the 4 strongest are Saitama, Quanwang, Life Tribunal, and Transcendent. But after the 5 creation gods entered, even though they were not normal human bodies, they also opened up the gravitational force. The higher the multiplier, the faster the strength will become stronger. The physically powerful Ant King Meruem can only reach 120 times as well. Yhwach still wanted to break through the limit of cultivation, and when he reached 110 times, his whole body was completely lying on the solid ground, and he couldn't even move. Even Beerus and Wukong are 500 times closer. In the Marble world, everyone else is at a normal level, even those who play technology, the upgraded ones are not as good as the pirate world. And God of Destruction and their priests, the top guys in the Dragon Ball world, have entered the cultivation space more than 200 times. Also reaching 1,000 times, there is only one God tier officer in the 4 worlds. Nitro these are even more unbearable, only about 80 times. Everyone began to adjust to their own limit level and started their own cultivation. On the other hand, in the Valkyrie world, Zeus, Sakyamuni, Odin, and Thor's Shendu are more than 100 times higher, and the others can't support the pressure that is different from normal gravity. Chapter 283. Everyone becomes stronger. Advertisement. The strength of the old man has reached the level of creating the entire omnipotent universe. To become strong can only rely on the level of the universe to reach a higher level. And the strongest 4 of them directly opened the highest 10,000-fold cultivation mode. The strength of the Life Tribunal comes from the bestowal of the old man OAA, entering it now is almost like experience, and has little effect. Quan Wang's body has also reached the limit of the dimension, and he can completely withstand the gravitational force of 10,000 times, and found that the energy under 10,000 times can really make him stronger. Immediately flew around the planet happily. The cultivation of Quan Wang is completely different from that of other people, just flying like this is cultivation. The one who moves the most is the one who transcends. At the beginning, the power of the Transcendent was still restricted by OAA, but after entering, the restrictions on the body, including the deprived energy, were all restored. This can't help but shock the horror of the gold list in the heart of the Transcendent. This is definitely better than the omnipotent universe, beyond the domain, don't be an unknown dimension. Okay, great, Sha Shing, wait for me to challenge again. Ha 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 ha. The liberation of the body made the Transcendent scream excitedly, and after starting the 10,000 times cultivation, the strength increased rapidly. The old man also found the relief of the Transcendent, and a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Just now, it was right to deprive the Transcendent of all his energy, and the gold list can actually restore him directly. Among the 4, it was Saitama who was challenged and adjusted from childhood to adulthood. Perhaps among the people in all the worlds, only Sha Shing knows the peculiarity of Kyu's body. A physical body that breaks through the limit, or the kind that breaks through the limit of the dimension. In the gravitational force that increases from small to high, Saitama runs around the planet in this way, and his body adapts to the rapid changes and becomes stronger. Xia didn't react until it reached the highest 10,000 times. As this already the highest? Pretty easy. Saitama finally acted like a normal person, and even bounced up and down. Here, he doesn't have to worry about kicking the ground too hard. At this time, the 4 major worlds have calmed down. Almost all the powerhouses with combat power have entered the cultivation space and practiced desperately. Advertisement. Every point of slack means that people in other worlds lag behind, or they can no longer catch up with people in other worlds. What's more, where can I find this kind of opportunity to continuously and quickly become stronger? It is simply a gift from the gold list. Especially Saitama and the Transcendents, who practiced crazily under the gravitational force of 10,000 times all the time. Sha Shing, when I come out, it will be time for my shame. Feeling the power of his crazy progress, the Transcendent was extremely excited, and he persisted even more relying on his resentment against Sha Shing. The energy on the planet is constantly pouring into his body as the Transcendent's punching action forms Uzumaki that sweeps the entire planet. After going out this time, you should be able to touch Sha Xing's superhuman titan, right? Kyu was dreaming of how he would beat Sha Shing, and kept repeating his training plan. Super workout program. Super repetitive workout. The slogan is very loud, in fact, it is Saitama running, push-ups, sit-ups and repeated exercises. But even with this kind of training on Saitama's strength grew even more terrifying and rapid. As for the Quan Wang, it doesn't matter whether he fights or not, the pure energy on the cultivation planet makes the Quan Wong very comfortable, flying leisurely in the sky, and his strength is also not slow to improve. In the world of pirates, Sha Shing was playing games, and went out to take a look at the training space in the sky when he had nothing to do. By the way, he also found that the old man OAA was always in place, watching there motionlessly like a piece of wood. Without these people, it's quite quiet, and it's comfortable to take a nap. Xia Xing's salted fish characteristics were brought into play again, lying in the sun and blowing the fresh sea breeze was extremely comfortable. They practiced hard inside, and Sha Shing signed in every day to get rewards. In this way, 3 months passed quickly. The time of the gold list is always accurate to ultimate, once every 3 months. The practice space is shining with light, and all the people in the practice space have been teleported out. Everyone returned to their respective worlds again, and in an instant, the 4 worlds were filled with incomparably powerful momentum. This group of people 3 months ago has been completely reborn. Powerful auras exude one by one, testing the strength of oneself. I really can't imagine that I can't really realize that I have improved so much until I come out. Uzumaki Naruto and Sasuke looked at each other excitedly, and then they fought together. Only with this Reiatsu, omniscience and omnipotent power can't be explored clearly. Ha 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 ha. Asking for flowers. Advertisement. Yuhabak laughed loudly, and when he came out, he was surprised by the strength of his body. Both body and divine power have become so much stronger. This has to be calculated according to multiples. Now I am afraid that I can even blow up the planet with one punch. Thor, Zeus and others in the world of Valkyrie were extremely pleasantly surprised. People like Ant King Malum, Nitro and others were all pleasantly surprised by their strength training results. But everyone understands that, in fact, if everyone goes into practice, the gap will not be too big, but they still turn their eyes to other people, ready to find an opponent to test their own strength. Among the few people with the strongest cultivation intensity, as soon as Saitama came out, he directly sent a shuttle application to Jinbang to go to the world of Dragon Ball. Qiyu wants to ask Quan Wong for a discussion. As for fighting Sha Shing, even though Qiyu feels that he is stronger now, he is still a bit hypocritical when facing Sha Shing. He wants to compete with Quan Wong before going. Saitama waved his hand and laughed. This Qiyu has no hair, no nerves. Fighting against Quan Wong in this world. Quan Wong did not refuse, but agreed. With a wave of the god-tier official's hand, the stars moved, and the 3 of them were all outside the palace. The cultivated body has huge power fluctuations, and this aura is as real as it is, and it begins to fill the entire king's domain. Quan Wong is the lord of all things in this world, even if Sha Shing comes here, he may not be Quan Wang's opponent. Very strong, powerful to the point of unimaginable. Sha Shing also came out of his small villa at this time. Qiyu also moved his hands immediately. Huh, you want to compete with me? And the violent aura penetrated the world projection, and immediately attracted most people's attention. Hey, it's on as soon as it comes out. In this world of Quan Wong himself, he is invincible. Then you must be ready. At a glance, Sha Shing saw that in the Dragon Ball world, Qiyu exploded with physical strength and attacked the past and the king. Quan Wong, it's just a competition, not a heavy hand. The Quan Wong was very surprised, and the god-tier officer beside him was even more surprised. Send out a challenge to enter the battle space to fight, but Saitama still dislikes it for being too slow. Chapter 284 New World appears, DC Universe. Advertisement. Quan Wong has been playing in the training space for 3 months, and it is obvious that he has liberated his fighting ability. It's not like before, just pinching the light to attack people. Facing Saitama's attacking fist, Quan Wong seemed to erect a translucent wall in front of him. Saitama's fist collided with the translucent barrier, and with a bang, the terrifying aftermath exploded out. This is the move I learned from Sha Shing, how about it? Quan Wong said with a smile. He saw Xia Xing's handsome appearance of taking all kinds of attacks with his hands behind his back, so he also made such a move. Come again. Qiyu was stunned for a moment, then clenched his fists tightly, and struck out a series of killer punches. Another loud bang. The barrier in front of Quan Wong was completely blown away. The whole palace was shaken by the aftermath of this punch, and the surrounding clouds were all scattered. Chi. Fortunately, this is the realm where the Quan Wong lives, above the universe, otherwise, this terrifying power may make it difficult for the galaxy to be preserved. But the next moment, seeing that the barrier was shattered, Quan Wong also imitated Saitama's way of punching, and punched out. Series of certain kills, consecutive punches. When Qiyu saw that Quan Wong had taken the initiative to attack, his heart was so hot that he immediately threw continuous punches. Quan Wong also fought back with an eye for an eye. Bang bang bang. The incomparably powerful forces collided at high speed, and the resulting aftermath couldn't be completely eliminated even from a distance by the god-tier officials. The entire Dragon Ball world is shaking because of the match between the two. For a moment, everyone was shocked by the power of the two 3 months later. Sha Shing also watched it with relish, so he almost went up and clapped his hands. The King of Kings has more moves at this time, and it is wonderful to fight Saitama. And with the two of them fighting, they are completely stronger than the previous Transcendents. If this is in the multiverse, I am afraid that the explosion of power can destroy the universe in an instant. But in the fight at this time, it is obvious that Quan Wong is suppressing his own strength and making a balance. All of a sudden, it was evenly matched. The battle here is going on, and on the other side, in the Marvel world. The Transcendent looked at OAA nervously, for fear that the old man would deprive him of his power again. Advertisement. Because the stronger he is, the more he can feel the horror of OAA. In this world, it is impossible to defeat the old man. But OAA didn't pay attention to the Transcendent. After looking at the other people who had cultivated with a smile, he turned his head to look at the battle between Saitama and Quanju. Seeing this, the Transcendent also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Instead of watching the battle in the Dragon Ball world, he looked at Sha Shing, who was leisurely. This time, I will pull you down from the altar of number 1. The Transcendent gritted his teeth and was about to challenge Sha Shing. Suddenly, a mutation happened. New world joins. Close black lens bracket. The voice of Jinbang spread throughout the world, and everyone stopped immediately, looking at the sky in surprise. The Transcendent was also startled, and did not continue to challenge, but looked curiously at the projection refracted in the sky. Quan Wang and Chi Yu also stopped and looked at the projection. This time there is a new world. Sha Shing touched Lian's cheek, a little surprised. The world you can join at this time must not be weak, right? But it really didn't come at a good time, and the 3-month practice space was closed before joining. The overall strength of the 4 worlds has increased greatly, so the new world must be strong enough. The projection in the air gradually unfolded and became clearer. From the messy ruins, it can be seen that it is a place similar to a nuclear power plant. The 6 figures stood at the highest point, as if they had just won a big battle. They were smiling, and were taken aback by the projection of the 4 worlds unfolding in the sky and the appearance of the golden list. My god, what is this? These pictures, according to the analysis, are like worlds one by one. A new challenge coming so soon. The 6 of them started to exclaim, it's okay for everyone to be shocked. When Sha Shing saw this picture, he could tell at a glance, this familiar picture. Hey, I should have guessed it a long time ago. The Marvel world is here, so why is this 600th world missing? Sha Shing smiled. These 6 people, aren't they the Justice League 6 in the 600th world? Superman Clark, Wonder Woman Diana, Batman Wayne, Kong Victor, Flash Barry Ren, Poseidon Arthur. Looking at it this way, it's the timeline to defeat that. Steppenwolf. Advertisement. But the few of them seem to be too weak. Perhaps, those DC gods are also soon aware of it and rushed over. Sha Shing couldn't help but think of this, even Superman is no longer enough. But also like the Marvel world, it is estimated that there will be gods appearing. At this time, people from the 4 worlds watched curiously. The 6 Superman and Batman also looked at the world projection in the sky, and their hearts trembled. This is too powerful aura. The Steppenwolf is as weak as an ant in front of them. Both Barry Ren and Kong Victor were amazed. Until the gold list slowly appeared and the entire 600th world passed the information flow of the gold list. Potential ranking list, strongest strength ranking. You are my shadow, of course you have to wait for me. The holy old man grabbed the ferocious humanoid monster and stood on the spot. Giant beast, why are you running so fast? These 2 who suddenly appeared are very strong. Like a shadow 4.5, this human figure revealed a terrifying appearance. Challenges can be rewarded. Also, what the hell is world fusion? The humanoid shadow monster yelled, but it didn't move any further, and looked up at the gold list in the sky. The world of DC has changed dramatically. The fast-talking Barry Ren exclaimed, and the other 5 also looked serious. The 2 terrifying aura exuded an aura that made Superman and Batman tremble. It even made people in the other 4 worlds feel it, and many people even felt a little palpitations. You don't care. This information is too beyond cognition. The powerful aura of the 4 worlds can be said to be enemies. Afterwards, a kind old man with a figure similar to that of a shadow figure appeared with an incomparably holy and kind body. The holy old man laughed, very peaceful. That is at this time. Then, a huge terrifying figure appeared. The entire space includes Superman, and the 6 members of the Flash seem to be isolated from the Earth. Chapter 285. The Supreme God and the Huge Beast. Advertisement. The Supreme God and the Great Beast. Sha Shing had already guessed it when he saw this naked old man with loose hair and the hideous and terrifying humanoid monster. The most powerful Supreme God in the DC universe, and his shadow, represent the incarnation of darkness, the giant beast. In DC, the Supreme God and OAA exist at the same level, and the 2 humanized appearances are also very similar in image, but their hairstyles are quite different. OAA, this old man likes to comb his hair beautifully. The Supreme God is very casual. But only Sha Shing watched with a calm face. In the 4 worlds, Oa narrowed his eyes and looked at the 2 over there. Others were even more shocked by the aura of the Supreme God and the giant beast. Everyone understands that the real strong has appeared. And Superman, Batman, Victor and others all looked at the Supreme God and the giant beast in shock. The Supreme God, the giant beast also changed into a normal human size while speaking. At this time, more existences began to appear. A translucent black human figure appeared beside the Supreme God. Barry Ren and the others couldn't help but kneel down because of the divine aura that embraced all things. 28. Superman Clark still wanted to speak, but found that he couldn't finish the sentence at all. The body is trembling, not listening. The jet black humanoid bowed slightly towards the Supreme God to show respect. Master Watcher, you are here too. The Supreme God smiled back, and the giant beside him snorted. The main monitor seemed unwilling to make a sound, but stood quietly. Then, more figures began to appear. The great artisan god, the new god, the ultimate light and the ultimate darkness, and the destroyer, the supreme Lady Shendu appeared. The great craftsman god is the existence of the supreme god who has the ability to manage the universe, and the new god is the descendant of the supreme god. The two lower-level gods are both mature female forms, and they look so charming. Light and darkness is also the appearance of Western youths, very handsome, and salutes to the supreme god together with the two lower gods, the god of Mars, and the supreme goddess. At the beginning, the destroyer appeared as a huge eye, and then it also turned into a human when it fell. Advertisement. It's just a one-eyed, burly man who looks a lot like Bo Ross. He is the rival of the supreme god, always trying to rise to the highest position. Supreme god, you have to be careful here, I may completely destroy you at any time. The master of destruction sneered sneeringly, staring at the supreme god. And the supreme old man didn't pay attention to him, instead he looked at the gold list in the sky with the new god. However, the original Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman Diana and others have completely trembled to the point where they collapsed to the ground with horror on their faces. They have never seen such an existence, let alone know that there is such a terrifying group of people in their world. 3 of the guys called God are here. The 4 worlds are also in shock. The new world is really not simple. The breath of these guys is very powerful, and some are even as powerful as the Transcendent. The God-tier officer was behind Saitama and Quan Wong, and clearly sensed the aura projected by them as soon as they appeared. The stronger the strength, the clearer the induction. Quan Wong and Chi Yu were also a little curious. Even Saitama was a little excited, the more strong the better. Sha Shing shook Erlang's legs, looked at a figure projected in front of him, and couldn't help but smile too. In the 600th world, these opposites have all come together, are you not afraid that your own group will do it first? Sha Shing knew that the main monitor was not from the Supreme God. The DC universe is just a cell in the main monitor, and the relationship between the Supreme God and him is also a mystery. But judging from the bow just now, it seems that he is not an enemy. On the other hand, there might be the Lord of Extermination, the God of Mars, and the Giant Beast. Both are characters who can fight against the Supreme God, a Martian god who is neither righteous nor evil. At the same time, Sha Shing is also curious about the collision between the DC universe and the Marvel universe. But at this moment, there doesn't seem to be any disputes on the side of the DC universe. Instead, they are studying the gold list in the sky very peacefully. Suddenly, the gigantic beast raised its palm and grabbed at Jinbang. A terrifying cosmic collapse occurred at the place where Jinbang was projected. It even directly scratched through the boundary wall, directly destroying a single universe behind it. But the gold list is still hanging above the world. No loss. Don't waste your efforts, the existence of this gold list is much higher than we don't know. Advertisement. The Supreme God looked at the destruction of the single universe at this time, and pointed his finger. He recovered directly. Immediately, the pupils of the people in the 4 worlds shrank. It's easy to destroy, and it's scary that the universe that was almost completely destroyed can be restored directly. You are the supreme being in that world. This magical gold list contains endless mysterious power, and it cannot be destroyed. At this time, the old man OAA took the initiative to say hello to the supreme god of the 600th world. Golden Wood Expulsion Line, Challenge, World Fusion. The supreme god nodded in a friendly manner. The old man opposite him, who was similar to himself, was an existence of the same level as himself, and he understood it with just one glance. And after going through the information in his mind, he knew the meaning of the gold list. With your strength, you must be number 1. 347. The giant vicious beast glanced at OAA, who also had the same mysterious aura, in fear, and looked at the number 1. The name is Sha Shing. Me, I'm not the number 1, the number 1 is that one. Ah smiled and pointed at Sha Shing. Sha Shing was eating at this time, looking at the gods of DC with his legs crossed, as if he was thinking about something. Not you. The giant beast also discovered that Sha Shing was not that old man. When he was concentrating, Sha Shing was like the sun among the 5 worlds, and he recognized it at a glance. Great craftsman god, new god, and destroyer were all surprised. They had already glanced over when they appeared. Except for a few who had a strong aura, including Sha Shing, they all thought that they were not as mysterious and terrifying as Ah, nor did they have the powerful aura of the man next to OAA. This, a young man, Miwuju was surprised and stared at Sha Shing. That's right, you can take a closer look. Saying this, Ah has been looking at the supreme god. Others might not be able to see it, but this person would definitely be able to spot Sha Xing's unusualness. Sure enough, looking at Sha Shing, the eyes of the supreme god and the giant beast couldn't help but become serious. In their eyes, Sha Shing is becoming more and more different. It's like a star is starting to burn up. Chapter 286 Martian God challenges the Transcendent. Advertisement. The supreme god and the giant beast can only feel the mystery contained in Sha Xing's body, but they can't explore it either. The old man OAA in the same Marvel world deduced it for 3 months, but he still couldn't understand Sha Xing's mystery. On Beishi Island, a large group of people from Pirate World have gathered towards Zhengxing. Everyone felt uneasy, the Transcendents at the beginning were strong enough. Even after 3 months of training, his strength has improved by leaps and bounds, but there is still a big gap, and Sha Shing was not able to participate in the World Fusion competition. In the Marvel world, there are Transcendents, OAA old men and other god-like existences, now there is a more powerful world. And looking at the number, it is even more than that of the Transcendent. This does not worry Whitebeard, Newgate, Shiki, Garp, Sengoku and other old people in the pirate world. These guys are almost all universe-level gods. Now it is enough to face the 5 creation gods. What's the matter with you? You don't look very good. Sha Shing looked at Whitebeard, Newgate and others coming over, and asked with a smile. I don't think the DC universe and the Marvel universe are threats, and I scan the powerhouses that appear in the DC universe carelessly. Beishi, the world brought by Jinbang is getting stronger and stronger. If we fight again, it seems that we will not be the opponents of these powerful guys. Under the balance of dimensional power, the gap in strength is also very large. Sengoku stroked his beard and said in distress. It's just a human body, even if you practice for a year, you can't catch up with those guys. Now you can't fight, you can only challenge. I'm afraid that in the end we won't be able to keep our world. Everyone expressed their concerns. Marine, 4 emperors, Shichibukai, everyone understands, and self-knowledge is necessary. Don't worry, what you have to do now is to carefully observe their fighting methods and abilities. Sha Shing smiled reassuringly. Although he couldn't play, he had already thought of countermeasures. It is nothing more than a gap in strength, and it is enough to distribute one's own strength to make up for it, and it has little effect on oneself. Everyone looked at each other, seeing Sha Xing's confident smile, and felt a little relieved. There is such a scene, I have to say that I was really bluffed by the aura of the supreme god of the DC universe. Even Sha Shing has to say that the giant beast, the supreme god, and the main watcher are too powerful. For example, Mars god, supreme goddess, ultimate light and darkness are all existences at the level of the 5 creation gods, and their power is enough to affect countless multiverses. Advertisement. And the great craftsman god and the new god both exist at the level of the life court. The giant beast, the destroyer, and the master watcher are even much stronger than the transcendent who has not experienced 3 months of cultivation. Of course, it is not necessarily the case now. But it is also second only to the existence of the supreme god. Supreme god, these 2 beings are undoubtedly the 2 strongest Sha Shing has ever seen. Everything that dominates the 2 worlds, even the 7 emotions of the supreme god can be turned into a small god, stronger than the great craftsman god. Such a lineup can be called ultimate. Just when Sha Shing reassured everyone. The supreme god's detection of Sha Xing's eyes has also been withdrawn calmly. The giant beast also tacitly did not say anything more. Compared to the gold list, I am more interested in your side backquote. In those worlds, the highest one is the multiverse, or even the single universe, only you. The mood of the supreme god has changed to calm when observing Sha Shing. Yes, my place is the almighty universe. It's okay if you dare to come and communicate. OAA said with a smile. The gold list has the ability to travel around the world, as long as it is on the double list, it can travel through space. This point has already been mentioned in the information of the gold list, and everyone in the DC universe is also aware of it. At this time, the gold list also updated the potential list. Almost all the gods in the 600th world have entered the potential list, and the total number has also begun to increase. Now there are multiple worlds, and there are close to hundreds of people with potential. On the contrary, OAA and Supreme God did not directly enter the leaderboard. Like the Quanwang at that time, it is not necessary to enter the leaderboard for the time being. The giant beast, Martian god, and the new god couldn't hold back at this time, and looked at the strength list in the sky one by one. If you want to challenge, it is natural to be the first. The existences of new god and Mars god are all staring at Sha Xing's number 1 position. The challenge was launched immediately. The reminder of the gold list's challenge also appeared in Sha Xing's mind simultaneously. I don't want to fight right now. Sha Shing felt a little helpless about being harassed for a while when New World appeared. Reject all. Advertisement. It's too troublesome to fight one by one in this situation. Is it true that you are number 1 but you dare not fight? The ultimate darkness changed from a black mist to a misty figure, and made a sound. The new god and Martian god didn't expect Sha Shing to reject them all. You are not enough. Quote. The words are simple and shocking, Sha Shing said to the gods of DC indifferently. Immediately, new god, ultimate darkness and light were unhappy, even if it was number 1 on the double list, it was too arrogant. They are all top-level existences in the universe, yet they are directly considered insufficient by Zhengxing. It's not enough. The supreme god took a serious look at Sha Shing, and said to his descendants, the new god and other existences. After saying this, the powerhouses of the DC universe were stunned. Even the highest god thinks so. Is this Sha Shing really that powerful? Even if OAA admitted that he was not Sha Xing's opponent just now, but again, OA's strength is still unknown to them, and they will only know after fighting. At this time, the Transcendent, who had long been upset, looked annoyed. I have been staring at Sha Shing for a long time to challenge, but once disturbed by people from the opposite world, Sha Shing will not accept anyone's challenge. Want to fight, right? I'll come of Zhao's to play with you. Transcendents have long been sulking, and if this is the case, then find these guys to vent their anger. You, looking at the arrogance of the Transcendent, even provocative. The Martian god couldn't bear it immediately, and sent a challenge fork to the Transcendent. Mars god challenges the Transcendent, entering the preparation time. Close black lens bracket. People from the 5 worlds were immediately attracted. Qi Yu and Quan Wang had already stopped fighting, and the people who saw the 2 worlds collided first, and returned to the Quan Wang palace with excitement on their faces to watch the battle. Beyonder, except for Sha Shing, almost no one was sure about the existence of fighting. This is sure to be a fierce and exciting battle. Everyone in One Piece world saw that the battle was about to start, and began to prepare to watch the battle in a solemn and rigorous manner. On the contrary, Sha Shing chuckled, with the Transcendent blocking him, he could still have a lot of effort left. Now it's not the presence of OAA who makes a move, and I don't want to move anymore. Chapter 287. The Destroyer appears. Advertisement. As the dimensional world becomes more and more powerful, the strength of people in all major worlds improves by leaps and bounds. The special battle space of Jinbang is no longer limited to the original mainland situation. Instead, it has been unified and upgraded into a more stable cosmic environment. In the eyes of OAA and the Supreme God, the projection of the battle space that occupies a large area of the sky is even more terrifying than the almighty universe, and has a higher level. At this time, the Transcendent who entered the battle space appeared on a planet larger than the Sun at the same time as Mars Shendu. The environment is also a simulated Earth, even the almanac is the same. Of course, these are not worth mentioning to the two who are about to go to war. After entering, the Martian God and the Transcendents discovered each other's powerful feeling. Sha Shing also couldn't help adjusting his posture, and seriously watched the upcoming battle projected in the sky. The Transcendent has fought against each other, so I understand it. But the Martian God knows very little, and only vaguely knows that the Martian God has the ability to change matter, energy, and even the size of atoms. There is no way to know the power in the body. If the ability can still be used after the dimension is balanced, it will be a hard battle for the Transcendent. However, it's time to prepare. With the palm of the Martian God grabbing and moving, the entire planet under his feet began to tremble crazily. At the foot of 853, the planet comparable to a star rapidly became smaller without losing mass, and turned into a black ball with extremely terrifying mass, which was held by the Martian God. Let me see how strong you are. The god of Mars smiled evilly, and the black ball in his hand was like a small black hole swallowing everything around, and he threw it towards the Transcendent. But the Transcendent was a little annoyed. This kind of attack of throwing planets at people seems to him to be underestimated. In an instant, terrifying energy erupted crazily from the Transcendent's body. The purple energy was extremely violent, and at the same time as it surged out, the body standing in the universe rushed towards the Martian god. My planet can't be picked up at will. The Martian watched the Transcendent sprint and came calmly. Compressing an extremely huge planet is not only a matter of mass, the energy in it is also transformed by the Martian god, and the condensed energy is even more terrifying. Advertisement. The Transcendent ignored the little black ball, and didn't change his face until the spider arrived. The black ball condensed by this star is very strong. But it's not enough. The Transcendent snorted, blocked it abruptly, and then grabbed it with his palm. The planetary ball exploded. The aftermath of the terrifying two diametrically opposed forces formed the black field and spread frantically towards the special battle space. At this moment, the Martian god really understood the power of the Transcendent. I took it empty-handed. What a surprise. The Martian god asked himself that such a blow, even the Master of Destruction could not catch it like this, and the Transcendent was unexpectedly powerful. Then it's time for you to try my attack. The next moment, the Transcendent had already arrived in front of the Martian god, and at the same time as he punched out, the Transcendent energy exploded. This punch was fast, so fast that it even reached the speed of light in a special space. Before the Martian god could even fully defend himself, he was punched and flew out, flying backwards into the deep and dark distance. The armor of the unknown substance on his body was directly shattered, and his body flickered. One punch already hurt Martian god. People from the 5 worlds were all shocked. The Transcendent was clearly stronger than 3 months ago. It was absolutely impossible to reach the current level in the special space before. It seems that the Martian god is not enough to pose a threat to the Transcendent. Sha Shing ate and drank, watched comfortably, and explained to everyone by the way. The gap has already been seen from the first move. The Martian god relies on external energy to fight. A Transcendent possesses transcendent energy, and after 3 months of cultivation, he has become much stronger. Sibi. Martian, who was knocked into the air with a punch, couldn't believe that his body was almost shattered by the Transcendent. He was about to stabilize his figure again and launch a powerful attack, but was chased up by the Transcendent at the speed of light. The whole body turns into a streamer, facing Martian god as an all-round limit blow. Advertisement. The aftermath of the brilliant energy in the battle space exploded in various ways, and the strength of the Transcendor completely exceeded Martian god's expectations. Using external energy, he was simply unable to launch a counterattack under such circumstances, and in the end he was beaten until his body became slack and ended the battle. The Transcendent wins. Close black lens bracket. Jinbang announced the result of the battle, and many existences in the 600th world looked surprised and dignified. Throughout the whole process, Martian Shendu was beaten so hard that he could not resist after only one shot. You can continue to challenge. The Transcendent still looked like he was not enjoying himself, and he hadn't been sent out yet, so he opened his mouth and said to the 600th world. The failure of the first stop was very embarrassing for the 600th world, and finally, Miwu took the initiative. And the body of the Martian god was sent out, and it is constantly recovering. It's just that the old man OAA has a smile on his face. The strength of the Transcendent has been too unexpected and too strong in these 3 months. After 3 months of training, they have all made unimaginable progress. Watching the battle of the Transcendent, they also want to go up and fight themselves. Everyone on Beishi Island was even more lost in thought. Everyone in the pirate world, the Dragon Ball world, and the Superman world all saw the silence, and they were shocked by the stronger strength of the Transcendent. In the Marvel world, it is a little exciting to see the Transcendor easily win. As the Transcendent going to break through them directly. This is like throwing planets at people and shaking the entire universe. Destroyer. This dark opposite that appeared after the Supreme God created everything, the truly unkillable existence space fluctuates into the battle space. People from the three worlds were discussing with each other, and many people sighed. This gap in strength made people feel unspeakable panic. On the contrary, Saitama, Sun Wukong and others watched with enthusiasm and fighting spirit. An existence in human form, with one eye, disheveled hair, and a strange atmosphere. Immediately after the owner of the fire entered, there was an uproar. At first, I thought that after 3 months of practice, I could open up a little distance, but I didn't expect that the gap would be even bigger. At this time, in the battle space, the Transcendents once again faced the giants of the 600th world. The battles of these top powerhouses are really shocking. If we really want to fight against each other, how should we fight? Chapter 288. The Destroyer and the Transcendent Draw. Advertisement. Within the special battle space, the huge planet is restored to its original state. The battle between the Transcendent and the Destroyer also broke out. Sha Shing couldn't help sighing, the strong man who appeared became more and more terrifying. The strength of the Transcendent is obvious to all 5 worlds, and it has been tempered in a special training space for 3 months. But now the Destroyer is head-to-head with the Transcendent, fist to fist. The two sides engaged in violent hand-to-hand combat at the speed of light, powerful energy shocks, and in just a few seconds, the incomparable planet in the battle space was directly shattered into ashes. The Transcendent also had a dignified look on his face, this time he really met his opponent. The power of the Destroyer has a strange erosion, and the Transcendent can barely resist, resulting in limitations, and the power can also fight against the Transcendent. I really can't underestimate you. Originally this trick was used to deal with Sha Shing, but it seems that it has to be used. The Transcendent realized that in this way of fighting, he could only fight whose energy was more durable. Only real means can be used. If you have any tricks, use them quickly. Except for the Supreme God, it was the first time that the Destroyer met an existence that could fight with him evenly, so he couldn't help laughing. As soon as the voice fell, the purple halo with a dreamy color instantly enveloped the entire space. The power beyond the field, beyond the magic fist. 3 months of hard work in the training space of the gold list is enough to improve the Transcendent's fist by hundreds of times. The Transcendent's whole body is full of terrifying energy surging out, and it even begins to reveal the fighting space, so that everyone watching from the outside can feel it clearly. His punch is very strong. Sha Shing picked up the wine glass and drank it by himself. I have to say that there are no 2 brushes beyond. In the Marvel world, I am afraid that the complete Transcendence Protoss is not as powerful as him. But I'm afraid it won't be possible to directly defeat the Destroyer. The pupils of Whitebeard, Newgate, Shiki and others beside them were trembling. This is too exaggerated. This is the battle space of the gold list. Everyone was shocked in their hearts, watching the terrifying energy surge that almost shattered the space. The same is true for people in the other 4 worlds, each looking at each other with solemn expressions. Advertisement. In your world, there are really not simple characters. The Supreme God of DC sighed and said to the OAA old man. Such a destructive power can be said to have completely surpassed the power of the Destroyer. The one-eyed guy in your world is not simple, maybe the two are just flat in the end. OAA also gave a thumbs up, looking at the owner of the fire with a different kind of brilliance in his eyes. The Supreme God didn't answer, just watched with a smile. In the 5 worlds, there are not many people who can see it. Only Sha Shing, OAA, Quan Wong and Supreme God know that the real power of destroying the owner is not destruction. But, indestructible. Although the Destroyer in the battle is also the energy that shocks the Transcendent, but it is only shocking, and there is no fear. Suddenly, in the dark universe, it turned into a huge eye pupil dotted with stars. This is the real body of the Destroyer. A gigantic eye bigger than a galaxy. Also, the destruction energy of the universe began to condense in the real body, and bursts of power like ripples on the water surface spread out, making the battle space even more unbearable. The two forces competed with each other across a long distance, and the hazy colorful light of the Jinbang shone, repairing the damaged battle space. At this moment, the Transcendent's 100 times Transcendent Body God fist was activated, his body was like a purple shooting star, he squeezed his fists to kill the Miwuju. Destroy the divine light. From the huge pupils of the Miwuju, rays of light are emitted. A black space crack was formed along the way, and it blasted towards the rushing Transcendent. The Transcendent gritted his teeth ferociously, his speed in the divine light rays did not decrease at all, and he broke the light with his divine fist without any damage. Just like this, he crossed the dark battle space and punched the fire owner's eyes. In an instant, Miwuju made a painful sound, and the huge pupils of the eyes were cracked and filled with purple light. Like a star exploding, the huge pupils split open, and the luminosity continued to brighten, 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times. Finally, under the explosion of energy, various gases are formed, and the matter explodes completely. The Transcendent stood behind the explosion with a proud smile. I won, said confidently, the Transcendent looked up at the gold list. I thought the results would be announced soon. However, there was no movement on the gold list, and the Transcendent couldn't help being stunned. Advertisement. Ask for flowers. Even the breath is gone, I can't feel its existence anymore, it should be the victory of defeating it. After waiting for a while, the Transcendent finally found out that something was wrong and was wondering. A destructive divine light shot towards him, and the Transcendent dodged in surprise. Turn around and look. At the place where the divine light was emitted, a huge eye condensed on the other end of the divine light and appeared. This punch of yours really hurts, but unfortunately, you still can't kill me. There was no underestimation in the voice of the owner of the property, but he said it very seriously. Then continue. Another purple divine light filling the entire space. The battle between Shengguang and Shengquan broke out again. Saitama, Quan Wang, and the gods of destruction were also amazed. At this time, the people in the other three worlds all looked shocked, sweating profusely, throat. But in Pirate World, White Lion Island, Sha Shing, and Supreme God, who were watching the battle, understood at this time that it was going to be a tie. The destroyer has no choice but to take the Transcendent, and the strongest destroyer light can't hurt the Transcendent, it can only shoot at him to make him uncomfortable. In the end, under the attention of everyone, after 2 hours, it was directly sent out by Jinbang. The great artisan god, the new god, and other existences also don't know how to respond. In fact, the destroyer is their enemy. I feel that I am not as good as a cell in front of the destroyer, or even the Martian god, and I will be instantly killed if I stare at it. Sha Shing looked at Whitebeard, Newgate and the others and smiled. Although the Transcendent was unhappy, he continued to attack with all his strength with a dark face. Jin Bang announced the result of the battle. Open black lens bracket destroyer challenged the Transcendent, tied, and ranked 10th on the list of strongest strength. Close black lens bracket. Who of you wants to go up and play with the new world? In the world of Marvel, the Tribunal of Life, the 5 creator gods, and Thanos, the Avengers couldn't have imagined that such a powerful and exaggerated Transcendent ended the battle in a tie. Can't fire. Impossible. The Transcendent has a strong physical body and endless energy, but there is no way to deal with the immortal master of destruction, unless the strength of the body is much stronger. Seeing the teleported one-eyed destroyer, Superman Clark, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the 6 veterans of the Justice League were completely dumbfounded. Chapter 289 Lucifer challenges Prescard Ace. Advertisement. Even if they are afraid of those cosmic gods, the best way is to go up and fight with them. Seeing that Sha Shing said to everyone with a smile. Garp, Newgate, Sengoku, Sakazuki, etc. were all stunned. Bye, Beishi, shall we go up and fight them? Kizaru Pelusolino was dumbfounded, although he will not die, but this is going up to seek death. Just say, who is going to play? Sha Shing said with a smile, the seriousness in his eyes was obvious. All of a sudden, the group of people fell silent. You look at me and I look at you. No one stood up first. Devil Fruit's ability is not as simple as you imagined. Every ability has evolved to the cosmic level, which is enough to fight against the cosmic god. No one is talking, so you have a try. Surprisingly, the person pointed by the star made everyone not expect. 637. Whitebeard, Newgate, Garp and other strong players from the old era may be better when they come on stage, but the person Sha Shing chooses makes people's eyes drop. Your Excellency Beishi, stop joking, why am I, a little flame, fighting these people? Fire Fist Ace pointed at himself in surprise, and said incredulously. But Sha Shing waved his hand and looked towards the 600th world, and the challenge must be from the opposite person. Most High God, you send someone to play with us. Sha Shing said directly to the Supreme God, pointing to Ace. Immediately, people in the 600th world were stunned, and people in other worlds were also stunned. Sha Shing, what are you kidding? Ace, a young man, after 3 months of training, can he go up to fight against the existence of the universe god level? Looking at the aura, even the ordinary strong may not be able to win. Except for the Supreme God, everyone in the 600th world looks at Ace with disdain. I really can't feel how powerful Ace is. Do you think you can insult us just because you are number 1 in the double list? The giant ferocious beast became furious. He couldn't imagine what Sha Shing meant by doing this other than expressing contempt for them. Advertisement. But Sha Shing was not moved. He just looked at the Supreme God and didn't say much. Which one of you will go up? After a pause, the Supreme God spoke slowly. A group of cosmic level existences were suddenly surprised, and looked at the Supreme God. They don't understand that such a mortal deserves a serious shot. He's serious. The Supreme God smiled, and he understood the meaning in Sha Xing's eyes. The giant beasts are naturally not interested in really going up to challenge, but someone still responded to the meaning of the Supreme God. The ultimate darkness and light, the 2 angel kings of the angel group also stood up, saying that they can go up and fight. At this time, they did not underestimate the people sent by Sha Shing. Especially seeing that the Supreme God is also very serious. Finally, Lucifer, who appeared in the form of a dark demon in the 600th world, came to fight. Ace felt his scalp tingle when he saw that the 600th world on the opposite side was really coming. Lucifer has dark red skin, angel wings emitting black smoke on his back, fierce fangs, and his aura is not much different from that of Martian. This is completely a multiverse-level powerhouse. Open black lens bracket Lucifer challenged Poscape D Ace. Close black lens bracket. Jin Bang Yi announced. This challenge immediately attracted the attention of the 5 worlds. The other worlds don't understand Ace, they just think Sha Shing is just playing around. And the people in One Piece world are not just accidents, they are even incredible. Whitebeard and Newgate are all nervous. Will Ace be scared out of his wits and lose his desire to become stronger from now on? But Sha Shing asked Ace to come to him during the preparation time, and put one hand on Ace's head. While talking, start using your ability to improve Ace. Everyone knows that Sha Shing can transfer power, but it seems that he can't beat those strong people to that level before, right? The power of the flames is very powerful. If it evolves, it will be even more terrifying than their cosmic energy. Feel it. Don't be nervous during the battle. Under the gold list, he is in the same dimension as you, and he can use his full strength. Looking at the nervous Ace, Sha Shing said with a smile. Advertisement. In an instant, flames shot out from Ace's whole body, shooting straight into the sky. During Sha Xing's daily check-in, he has obtained new abilities. The ability to evolve energy cannot exceed Sha Xing's own level, but that is enough to reach the terrifying cosmic level. What is a fire that evolves into a cosmic flame? It was crimson, like a burning flame of the soul, an indescribable sense of terror. Sha Shing called it, Nine Lotus Fire. Now the flame on Ace's body is at this level, and the body of the flame element is also crazily evolving under the protection of Xia Xing's Conqueror's Haki. It seems that this time is not enough for you to fully evolve, go in and fight while becoming stronger. Sha Shing lay back lazily, leaving only a little golden light on Ace. Afterwards, both of them were directly sent into the special battle space. Looking at the complicated and surprised expressions of everyone, Sha Shing knew what they were thinking. I won't let you keep getting stronger like this. How is this possible? What method did the number 1 star use? Lucifer was a little shocked. He was equalized in a special space, and he was still ahead of Ace at the beginning. Whitebeard, Newgate and the others seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, feeling the power of Ace's expression and promotion just now, and they were even more shocked by Sha Xing's powerful means in their hearts. This method can only be achieved according to qualifications. Everyone in the 5 worlds saw the scene of Sha Xing's promotion of Ace's power, and the violent fluctuation made the Transcendent frown. A blue light flashed in Lucifer's hand, and a western broadsword appeared in Lucifer's hand, a sword that he didn't need for his height. But in less than a minute, Ace's power is almost making Lucifer's breath hot. And it keeps getting stronger and stronger. Sha Shing just said this without further explanation, and looked up at the projection in the sky. Ace and Lucifer appear on the giant planet in Battlespace 4.2 at the same time. They can't do this kind of improvement method, like this one, they can only create and give. Oa and the Supreme God are even more surprised that Zhengxing's hand is unexpected. With the terrifying energy of the King of Angels, he cut down on Ace, who closed his eyes and looked hideous, in pain and happiness. On the opposite side, Ace is full of deep red flames. As soon as Lucifer came in, he felt the rising temperature of the whole planet. Then, according to this, wouldn't everyone in Pirate World be able to improve beyond the dimensional limit like Ace?